Hey, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to Weeb Seen It podcast. My name's Cam,
And I'm Jimmy.
and let's just get right into the episode. Let's go. And we're back, and we are back with episode number 12.
Yes.
You guys wouldn't believe how many times it takes us to actually guess this, right? We did miss a week last week. That was due to our position in the world, which is Canada, and a ridiculous amount of snow over 3 days.
Yeah, we basically got a month and a half's worth in the course of 24 hours. So.
Yeah, like some of the roads were shut down, schools were shut down.
And I chose not to die.
Yeah, Jimmy lives in the middle of nowhere, which means he got more snow than ever.
Yeah.
We are thinking of contingency plans for the winter season if it happens again. Maybe just doing an online one. It'd be the same when you guys are watching it. Maybe just quality of video might go down a little bit. Obviously, we don't have the same camera. We don't have all the same audio equipment.
Yeah, expect a shitty webcam from me in the near future.
Yeah, but we're going to try and do something, especially with some big shows coming out, one of which we're going to talk about later today.
Yep.
We don't want to miss an episode because that could be detrimental if you miss one of the huge episodes of some of these shows.
Like, we're already feeling bad about last week because of some of the episodes.
Yeah,
so.
like some of the episodes last week were good banger episodes,
Yeah.
and missing them kind of sucks. But that's just how life works sometimes. There's not much we can do about it. The weather kind of makes up its own mind on things.
Yeah, too true.
One of the things we're going to talk about today is actually the last thing on our list is, of course, Attack on Titan Season 4 started.
Yeah, got an early start this season. And,
Yeah, typically I think every single week it comes out on Monday.
Yeah.
But for some reason the first episode came out on like the Sunday.
Yeah, they got an early drop for some reason. So
Yeah, so what's going to happen now is we're probably going to be releasing episodes on either the Monday or possibly the early Tuesday morning after editing and stuff like that, so that you have a full like 5 or 6 days of us talking about the Attack on Titan episode till when the next one comes out.
Yeah.
Because if we kept doing what we're currently doing, it would literally come out a day before the new episode comes out, and that's no good to us.
Yeah, it's kind of defeats the point.
So if you are here to hear about our thoughts on the first episode of Season 4, we're going to have timestamps below, as always, and if you actually just hover your mouse over the buffering bar, we have them all in there, too, because it is going to be the last thing we talk about. So if you're just here for Attack on Titan, you're going to want to skip ahead, because there's a lot to talk about before we get to Attack on Titan.
I mean, feel free to stick around for the rest of it.
Yeah, feel free. We're talking about lots of good anime. We have our normal lineup of 6 anime, plus now Attack on Titan, because it did start early, so nothing else from the fall has ended yet.
Correct.
So we're going to try probably some of the other episodes to talk about. If it was a more boring episode, we're probably going to go through it pretty quick today, just so we can get to the Attack on Titan discussion faster. Unless, if it was a really big or important episode, no. But some of them were, kind of like filler episodes in ways.
Yeah.
So we could probably get through stuff like that decently fast.
Oh, yeah. We don't have to go over every single detail if it's not anything interesting. So
Yeah, exactly. As always, too, if you guys are watching this, even if you're just going to skip right to the Attack on Titan part, feel free to subscribe, like, comment, all that kind of stuff. Comment especially. Our last video actually did really well, had lots of comments, which we loved.
It did.
People were just telling us, what fall anime they want to watch, or they were telling us, one guy had a lot of theories about some of the stuff from their most recent episode of Don Machi.
Yep.
There's kind of comments about everything, which is like the favorite. I'm expecting now a lot of comments are going to be about Attack on Titan.
Yeah, we're going back to ReZero format here. It's one
that's a
headliner.
theory show right there, though.
Oh God, yeah.
So we like all those theories. No spoilers as always, though, if you can. I know a lot of people here are manga readers for a bunch of different animes, so just try to avoid spoilers. But theories are always welcome. And then just if you have any advice, tips, anything you like, anything you don't like, always let us know too.
Oh, yeah.
We are changing things in the future. We're trying to get stuff like better camera. I think our audio quality is probably one of the best things we have.
Yeah, you were definitely prepared for this.
Yeah, but we're trying to get a better camera. We're going to try and do better at editing, stuff like that. And as I said, if we do have to go to a slightly different format for winter, we're going to do the best we can with that as well, obviously. I think other than that, are you just ready to get into the episode?
I think I am, yeah.
Okay, so let's just crack open our ceremonial non-sponsored energy drinks.
One day.
I bit off all my nails, and now I can't open these. Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
I actually really badly need that. It's almost going to be hard
me
talking
too.
about the anime because I'm just going to be drinking that so bad. First up on the list, as always, we have Noblesse, episode 9.
Yep.
So we should probably start at least by briefly mentioning episode 8 since we missed it.
Yeah,
It's probably going to be a typical theme with most of these that we talk about. We did miss last week, so if something important was in it or if it links to this one, we'll have to mention it quickly at least.
Yeah. Especially with this one because they kind of link together very tightly.
Yeah,
so.
it's very much a 2-episode kind of like a little arc in its own way.
Yeah.
One thing I'm going to say is these were probably my 2 favorite episodes of Noblesse. I kind of wish the whole show was just this.
Yeah, because it's basically just about Frankenstein at this point. No high school stuff, no...
Yeah, we get away from the Japanese high school setting. We go into a more traditional kind of vampire-y setting.
Yeah.
You got some sort of like 18... I don't know what year it takes place, but very much like 15 to 1700s, very like Castlevania kind of shit.
I mean, anything to do with vampires, it's hard to kind of judge the age of because they always go for that same aesthetic. So
yeah, but a lot of it's about their. Okay, wait, what the hell is the name of their home place?
I want to say Lucadonia, but I feel like that's.
I know it is Lucadonia. Okay. You're right.
It just sounds wrong.
Yeah, actually, I took a few notes, which I tend to not do.
Yeah, this is what, the second time you've taken notes?
Yeah, and they're really small.
So
my notes about Noblesse are literally Lucadonia, Cadis Etrama de Rizel, which is his full name, because I was like, hey, what's his full name again? We always just call him Rai. And then you have Gejutel K. Londiger, or whatever, which is the old man.
Oh, yeah.
Who's like the leader of Regis's clan.
Yeah.
And then there was Ragar Kurtia, which was the blonde guy. I just named some of the leaders that they named by name.
Okay.
That was all I did, because I was like, I'm not remembering the name Gejutel K. Londiger, or whatever the fuck his name was.
Yeah,
I'm like, there's not a chance. So
I'm hearing it now. It's not sticking. So yeah.
Yeah, he's the bearded guy with the white strip. Yes,
I know who you're talking about. I'm not going to remember his name.
Yeah, I might remember his name just because I wrote them down. But yeah, sure. A lot of it's just about Frankenstein's past. The Gejutel character, he's the grandpa of Regis. Yeah. He shows up and he has some sort of beef with Frankenstein. And then we go into the past where Frankenstein was a human who did some sort of experiments and started killing nobles.
Yeah.
Just for fun, or not really for fun, because nobles also kill humans, or that's what he thinks. Some of the nobles he meets disagrees, but I'm sure he has a good reason.
I mean, I'm sure there's some nobles abusing power out there.
Yeah, and then just while he is trying to run away from a fight with some of them, that's where he meets Rai, who then just immediately takes him in as his servant, and then that gets us into this episode.
Yeah.
So,
which I do want to note, Rai just going, "Oh yeah, you're in my house and bleeding. Yeah, you belong to me now." It's very weird.
Yeah, but I mean, when you're the strongest dude around, you just don't have to give any fucks.
I mean, true.
If you have no worry about anything affecting you, like if he's like, "Oh, I can't be killed," so what's the worst that happens?
That is true, because even the leader's like, "Oh, he wants to do that? Yeah, cool. Go right ahead."
Yeah, he literally said in this episode that Rai is a god to them. I'm still slightly confused at his position, because the lord of the place specified, he said like we're like brothers, or like father and son, we're like connected.
They're like two sides of the same coin, I think. And
yeah.
I'm not really sure what they're going for here, because my gathering was that he was supposed to be like almost like an arbiter for them.
Mm-hmm.
But if he does anything, he starts coughing up blood.
Maybe it's not if he does anything. Maybe that was the first time, for instance. Maybe
we've seen him use his power twice, and both times he's coughed up blood.
But maybe that was the first time in that fight with Frankenstein. That's how powerful Frankenstein was when he went the berserker mode, and then since then he's had some sort of lasting injury, and that's why Frankenstein felt bad after, and that's why he always feels bad when he coughs up blood the other time we've seen it.
I mean, that is possible.
It's possible. I mean, because like he was really strong in that moment because he just let loose all of his powers at one time.
Yeah,
we're still not exactly told how he got his powers. He is human.
I'm assuming it's your basic Frankenstein. I experimented with stuff and got superpowers.
Yeah, and the main focus of the episode is him. Is basically there's a thought process after he becomes his servant that he's going to do a blood pact with Rai, which is a human can make a blood pact and then they'll extend their life and he becomes like their eternal servant. Yeah, and none of the other nobles want him to do it because he's a human and he's killed other nobles. And but the one person who does want him to do it's the Lord, because he realizes that like, hey, having that will make him no longer lonely, and he's just like a lonely dude. He just sits in his house all the time, looks at the window.
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, obviously they do in fact make their blood pact. No surprise, we already know in the future.
I mean, that's the thing about a flashback. You know how it's going to end.
Yeah. Now, one thing I have the question from the episode is: are we just going to kind of kick? Now I'm not gonna remember their names again. The red-haired kid and the brown-haired kid.
I want to say Tai or Taichi or something like that, but
I don't remember.
Manabu's one.
Yeah, are they just gonna kick them out from being main characters?
They're gonna come back. There's no way they're gonna focus on them that much and just let them completely go by the wayside.
Because like they weren't even at the director's house at the end when they're talking about all this like family, like he's found these people and they weren't even there. I was like, ooh, fucking savage.
Yeah, I mean something's gonna happen. They're gonna get pulled back in and they're gonna get their memories back.
I hope, but imagine if they're just like, okay, those characters are done now. They were just kind of from the OVA into the little bit of this, but now we're on to real matters that these humans have nothing to do with. Like that'd be kind of weird.
I mean, maybe they were just there to get us invested, and then they just took them out.
Maybe. And then obviously the episode finishes with the setup, which was actually the brother of that. What did I call him? What name did I give him? Ragar Kurtia, his younger brother, who obviously is a little bit of an emo git. The fact that he's not the older one, so he can't be clan leader.
Yeah.
He says that he's gonna go after Sarah, bring her back. So then the new lord, the daughter of the guy we've seen, she can then read her mind to find out if Gejutel was lying about Rai being there.
I'm feeling some plot convenience here. She just happened to be able to read your mind if you're a vampire. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, so she literally, it's like, Geshutel went there to make Rai come back and then like stand trial to see if he did whatever crimes they assume he did. And then they're just like, no, like he likes his life here. And then Geshutel kind of sees that and he's like, okay, yeah, like this, he looks pretty dope. He even tells Regis after, he's like, no, you stay here too, learn all you can until you have to come, like you'll have to come out of this eventually. Like this is kind of like a, you know, it's like you're frolicking around kind of thing, but you have to stop eventually, but like enjoy it while you can.
It's like when you go studying abroad in college.
Yeah. Yeah, you gain something out of it. It's not, maybe not all the time. It's not tons, but there's always some sort of experience that you've gained. But yeah, then he goes back and he lies. He says that he didn't find Rai there.
Mistaken.
They were information was wrong. And then she's just like, I'm gonna read your mind, and he's just like, you can't. I'm too strong. She's like, I'm gonna read Sarah's mind, and he's like, oh fuck, you can't do that.
Yeah, I like how his reaction was like, try it, bitch. Like,
yeah. And then she's just to me like, well, I'll go read her mind, and then she's a new clan leader. She's not as powerful, kind of thing. And then obviously, little emo git brother's like, I'll get her for you.
Yeah, which he's either gonna join the club or he's gonna get bitch slapped.
He's gonna get his ass kicked. He's not joining the club material. I can already tell you.
I mean, there's always a chance. You never know.
I don't want it to be an anime where every single enemy becomes the friend.
I mean, how many times have you seen it happen?
In anime, a lot.
Yeah, there is that fear.
I watch a lot of One Piece, and I swear to God, in One Piece, it happens almost all the time.
I mean, yeah, it takes like 5 episodes. It's like, we're fighting, now you're working with me. It's like, oh, okay, then.
Yeah, I don't want that to be what happens, and I don't think it will, because he seems kind of like a little bitch, and we like to beat little bitch characters up quickly and kind of... Plus, there's only 4 episodes left, so I feel like he will probably be the main bad guy for the end of the season.
Which, I mean, that's kind of a sad note to end on.
I mean, he is still a noble from one of the clans. He's not the clan leader, but, I mean, he's still going to be pretty powerful, I assume.
I mean, in theory, but he's fighting their god.
Yeah, he's not going to be fighting Rai, I don't think. I feel like he's going to have to fight maybe, like...
He's going to fight Manabu.
He's going to... Oh, dear God. That he could win. I feel like he's going to fight the experiment guys from the Union. He's going to be stronger than them.
Maybe see M23 do something with his werewolf power.
Yeah, he might beat, like, Regis. Maybe he'll fight Frankenstein. Like, it kind of depends, but, like, he wouldn't obviously be able to fight Rai, but we don't necessarily need Rai to fight again as, like, the main, I mean,
he doesn't even technically fight. He shows up, he waves his hand, and then people just
Yeah, because he's too strong. He's like the god character. So like that's why I don't think they're gonna make him fight again in this season. I feel like they'll maybe make this kid a threat to someone, but I can't imagine what else they're gonna do in 4 episodes. It's not like he's not gonna go fight them, come back, report it to a higher up, and then have a higher up come back out all within 4 episodes. I don't think.
Probably not. They'll probably have him lose, and then it end with him reporting in.
Yeah, which is what I would assume. And then next season we'll get more people coming, or maybe they'll do an arc where they have to go to Lucadonia and fight back. You never know. But yeah, definitely out of these 2 episodes, the ones that didn't take place in Japan in high school, were probably my favorite. Just like plot wise, this was more what I expected from a vampire like anime.
Yeah, it's not just some dude in high school who just happens to have superpowers. It's actually political and some actual intrigue to it. So.
Yeah, lots of like royal family, political, noble shit, which is what I expected. Enjoyable overall. You got any final thoughts on it, or?
Nothing in particular. The only thing I did notice is that before the Blood Pact, I think Rai did the same thing he did to M23 with Frankenstein. With the drop
rubbed
of
his lips on his, or blood on his lips?
Yeah, he did the same thing with M23. So does that mean M23's got a Blood Pact going?
Maybe. He's technically human.
I mean, yes. I'm just curious about that.
I feel like he's going to get a Blood Pact with all of them going at some point. I think that all of them are going to become his like eternal servants, like all the Union guys who came over. Maybe eventually. Maybe.
Hey, Manabu,
red-haired kid in Manabu will somehow get in on this.
Yeah,
but
it's like, hey, you want eternal life?
Living eternally is supposed to be a curse. That's not a good thing for people that have families. The thing is, Frankenstein doesn't have a family that we assume by the point he's at.
I mean, I'm pretty sure his whole thing is his family was probably killed by a noble.
Yes, exactly. But like for regular folk, it's supposed to be that eternal life always sounds cool, but then you're going to have to watch all your family die and all that kind of stuff, and it's difficult. So I don't think that.
Yeah.
But I can definitely see, since the other ones are experiments anyways, without probably too much family connection, I could definitely see them over the course of the show.
I'm sure their families are all dead or wiped from their mememory. So
yeah, so I could definitely see them over the course of the show becoming his servants, and he has like the little squad, which I'd be down with.
Yeah,
I'm still on the fence about Noblesse as a total show, but I have optimism as to where it could go.
It has potential, but it's still the one I'm iffiest about from the Crunchyroll lineup.
I was also really iffy about Tower of God a lot while I was watching it until like the final couple episodes, and then I got really into it, and then like the very last scene at the show, like I won't spoil it because you haven't seen it, but the very last scene in the show, I was like, okay, I'm now ready for season 2.
Okay, I get that.
So we can hope that happens with Noblesse. Okay, Next up on the list for the week was Wandering Witch, episode number 10.
The two teachers.
The two teachers. Okay, so we got to talk about the episode 9 first, especially.
Yeah, which the episode before was Sorrow from the Past.
Yeah, okay, so there's two main factors here.
First of all, we fucking called it.
First of all, we called it. Okay, so it got dark. Second of all, not only did they have to start the episode with a warning saying that this content could be inappropriate for some users, they also didn't show an intro. And when shows do not show intros or outros, that's when it gets epic. Just like ReZero, the ReZero episode where there's no outro and it's just him freezing to death slowly with his head decapitated.
Yeah. Which I wasn't expecting him to go that far with this.
Yeah, so I was the one thing about that though, when they have to give the warning, is that there was no like thought process of the episode that it might not be dark because we knew it was going to be because they had to put a warning. That's not their fault though. That's just part of trying to.
Yeah, I mean, how many times have we actually seen that in recent memory? Like the last time I can think of it was Goblin
Slayer. I've seen something. I feel like.
I think there was one other thing, but it was like relatively tame in comparison.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen it more recently than that, but I can't think of what it would be. Either way, though, so we always wondered when the show was going to get dark again because we've had so many of these light episodes with like these like weird Disney Channel kind of what's the word I'm looking for, like
slice of life,
like a meaning behind the episode, like some sort of like a theme.
A moral lesson.
Yeah, like with like a Disney Channel moral lesson of like, hey, treat your neighbors kindly.
Yeah, which they just kept using over and over.
So we were waiting for the dark episode, and then the funny part is that the 1 week we don't get to talk about it like fully. It was the 1 week it happened because then this week's episode that we're going to talk about immediately after was once again a pretty light for fun episode.
I'm not going to lie. I wouldn't mind just talking about last week's episode and just saying screw this week's.
Well, maybe we'll talk more about last week's and get into this one fast. But especially after the episode before too, where we kind of got baited out by the whole like the Ripper, was it Jack the Ripper or just the Ripper?
It was the Ripper.
Just the Ripper thing. We're like, oh, this is going to be the taking 4 girls' lives. Trick, it's just hair. This one is literally about a witch summons Elena to go help her out because 10 years ago, her best friend's parents got stabbed by a robber, and then the girl got sent to her uncle who was abusive and like probably sexually molested her. So then she kind of went crazy, became a serial killer, so that her best friend, the witch, had to then execute her 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And then the whole plot is that she wants to go back in time 10 years to stop the parents getting murdered, because if you stop the parents getting murdered, the daughter never has to go to the uncle, thus the daughter grows up like a normal kid.
Yeah.
Now, there's a couple important things here. One, I kind of liked the fact that they mentioned the rules of time travel real quick. She briefly brought up like, hey, won't, because I had questions. Like, I'm like, wait a minute, like you're offering Elena all this gold, but if you actually change the past so this never happened, you never execute, you never hire Elena gets no gold. There's nothing in this for her.
Yeah. I mean, not even that. It's just a freaking paradox.
Yeah, it's one of the class things about time travel. But then she does say that it's kind of like Marvel Infinity Wars.
Yeah, or I look at it as a Back to the Future syndrome.
Yeah, it makes a separate timeline, which means that when they go back to the future, she had still executed her friend. Her friend's still dead. All the same stuff happened, but she has a little more peace of mind knowing somewhere in a different timeline, her friend got to live out happy.
In theory.
In very much theory. Obviously, we get a nice little twist. They kind of go through. Elena kind of figures something's kind of weird. She says, like, she's like, wait a minute. Their parents were stabbed 10 times. It's like, why would you, if it was just a robbery, why would you stab someone 10 times?
Yeah, that's a crime of passion. That's not a crime of I want your money.
And then right then they have rings that link their magic, so she can tell that the other witch.
She's supplying magic to the witch specifically because she used it all to get back here.
Yeah, so you can tell the other witch is using magic. She says, oh, she must be there, but like this isn't a big deal. She's fighting one guy with a knife.
Yeah.
And then she goes there, and then obviously we get the twist of the episode, which is that the girl, I don't remember what her name was.
I keep calling her Rika because I'm just thinking Higurashi.
It's not Rika, but she gets there and finds that girl. Kind of like the scene we got to see at the beginning too, with the real bloody teeth. I mean, was she eating them after? Like, what the hell were her teeth doing so bloody?
She might have like tried to rip their throat out. I don't know. It was a pretty fucked up episode.
She had stabbed both her parents and then stabbed the older witch. The whole reason they were coming back here.
Yeah.
And then Elena's a little bit confused, obviously, and that's where you get the story that her dad was actually sexually abusing her, which made her mom jealous. So her mom was like getting mad at her and like emotionally abusing her and that kind of shit.
This is a way too common trend, I think, in some anime. I feel like this has come up in the past too many times for me.
It's something I like to use a lot.
Yeah.
I can think about Higurashi, for instance.
Higurashi, Elfen Lied.
Yeah. So obviously that's a twist. This girl's a little fucked up. She even then, she references the fact that the other witch, I think, was she called the Lavender Witch?
Yeah. It's always hair color.
Yeah, it's not always hair color. We learn in the next episode why some of them are hair color.
It's usually hair color.
Yeah, but so it's the Lavender Witch, and they ran into each other briefly earlier, and she mentioned she was a time traveler, and then this girl, being 10 years old or something, quickly puts it together like, oh, is this like my friend from the future? And she kicks her a couple times. She doesn't give a fuck. Basically, the girl's psycho.
She didn't even acknowledge her as her friend. She specifically said, "Wait, I have a best friend."
Yeah, that's how like little she actually meant, right? It was two different people thinking about the relationship separately. But yes, because of the emotional trauma, this little girl went crazy in the past. She stabbed her own parents. She then went to live with her uncle. She then killed, and then she wanted to be a serial killer before getting executed by her friend. Anyways, how this one turns out. Using Elena's magic through the ring, she's literally strangling the little girl. The Lavender Witch gets up. She's strangling the little girl to death, being like, how dare you? Like, we were friends, all this kind of shit. Like, I hate you. And then Elena's like, I don't want you to kill this girl, so I'm going to take the ring off so she loses the power. So she takes off the ring, and then as the lore we got a little bit earlier in the episode, she can give up something.
Yeah, this has happened in the past too. Same with the no lying episode.
Yeah, she gives up what she decides to give up, because they mentioned earlier you can give up memories or your voice or something along those lines. Yeah. She gives up her memory of the girl that she's about to kill to use power to kill her. And then of course what she does is she does decapitate her.
Yeah, which I mean, I think that was pretty justified.
Yeah, I mean, as anyone watching the show was probably like, yes. Elena's like, no. We're like, yes, please.
Yeah, I mean, Elena's always all over the place.
Especially because why does it matter? This makes a separate timeline where you kill her. In this separate timeline now, it's like, yes, sure, her parents still died. She didn't die. Her uncle doesn't die. We don't necessarily know if her uncle was actually even harassing her.
I mean, we don't even know if her father and mother were.
I'm gonna take that as true, only because we have no reason not to, because she says it to people before she kills them. But
I mean, that could be just her fucking with them. She seemed like a pretty twisted person.
But even so, then whatever people she eventually went on to kill anyways, those people are not killed in this timeline. So by killing her now, even though you haven't solved the main issue, you've still saved a couple people in a timeline that's not yours.
Yeah, plus the Lavender Witch in the past now doesn't have to kill her friend in the future.
Exactly. So yeah, because that Lavender Witch is going to be like, oh, my friend died to a different witch who killed her. Oh no, this sucks.
She doesn't even know it's a witch. She's just going to know her friend got decapitated.
But yeah, so, a little dark, obviously, which is kind of what we were expecting. And there was some real good imagery with lots of blood and decapitations. The shot after it goes is just her head on the floor. Then you can see her body in the background.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fucked up week when Higurashi isn't the one traumatizing me.
Yeah, and then when they do go back to the future, it starts off with the Lavender Witch no longer knowing. She knows who Elena is, but she can't remember, what she wanted, or like she can't remember anything about the past of her friend. Elena's like, no, that's good. And then Elena charges out being upset. She doesn't even take the gold. Yeah. Waste of time. She just runs out, and then she goes out and she cries.
Yeah, which I think this is probably the first time we've seen her actually acknowledge that she is kind of evil.
Yeah.
Or at least useless.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say evil, just maybe a little bit of a bitch. She just doesn't really stop anything.
I'd put her on like neutral evil at best.
I mean, she wasn't the most evil person in this episode, at least. So,
I mean, she wanted to keep them alive.
That's true, but I mean, I don't really know what her logic was there. I guess she's like, I guess she didn't want her friend to kill her twice. But she knew that at that moment she was giving up her memory of her, and that's that actually seems like a positive ending for the girl.
Elena's like what, 17? She doesn't know this shit.
Yeah, she's operating. Yeah, she's turning 18 soon though.
I know.
I did like the moment in that episode where they were arguing. Like Elena was like offended when she said that she became an apprentice witch at this age, and then Elena's like, yeah, well, like how long did it took you? 3 years? Only took me one. Like she was like competitive. The girl's like, are you making fun of me? She's like, no, just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, very dark episode. Kind of what we expected. And then obviously we get into this week's episode, which was not at all dark.
I mean, it had a couple moments that could have been dark.
Could have been. It's basically we see the what's her name? The
Stardust Witch and the Twilight Witch.
Yeah, both. It starts with both of them in their own separate places taking a vacation. One thing to quickly mention is that the first scene we see is Saya, who has a box, and her mission is to take the box to the free city of Quartan or something.
Yeah, Quart. I can never pronounce names like that.
Yeah, but it's a mission there. At this point, we're just kind of supposed to think that's like a throwaway thing, and it really has nothing to do with the main plot.
Which it never is.
Yeah, but there's something different about this one in one sense we'll get to. But anyways, then it's just about the two different witches taking a vacation. This is where we find out that they know each other. They were both apprentices under the same witch, who they did not give us a name, but we do not need a name.
It was pretty obvious it was Mama Nike. So
yeah, the fact that they're still not like I don't know. There's no way that they're supposed to be like, yeah, fans don't know who this is, right? Like,
I mean, I mean,
It's
we
gotta
are
be-
watching the show, but I hope they don't have that little respect.
I know
for
it's
us.
got to be like a thing where it's like, oh, everybody knows who this is except for Elena, even the people watching it. They're not like, yeah, the watchers are still going to be surprised when we reveal
if
this
if this is based on like a manga, and
because
this
we've
is
seen her mom before.
I know. I'm almost wondering if this is based on like a manga or a novel where you never actually get to see the face.
You know what I'm wondering? How goddamn old is her mom?
I don't know.
Because her mom looked pretty young, and
But she looked older than Elena is now during this.
yeah, but then she had 2 apprentices who then grew up, and at least by we're assuming 18 years because she had them before Elena was born.
I mean, we don't know that. For all we know, she had the kid, left her at home, and was still traveling around as a witch.
I mean, maybe. I don't know if they ever. I don't know if it's going to be like the continuous joke is that like they obviously we and most of the characters know that Nikke is her mom, but Elena will never find out, and that's going to be like a funny kind of thing.
I think that's going to be what they say for the last episode. She's going to go, "Wait, you're Nike?"
Yeah. But yeah, most of it's just about the 2 witches talk about how they never liked each other, and then most of the episode is shown through a flashback of the classic. Oh, I'm kind of like the goody 2 shoes one, and oh, I'm the kind of the badass one. I'm like fucking 13 and smoking, and I'm wearing a halter top, and
I mean, she has like the generic like delinquent coat and everything else, and her broom's decked out with Christmas lights.
yeah,
And
they have 2 separate styles, so they're constantly fighting as both apprentices. Obviously, though, we know in the future they found some sort of friendship, and then we get to see kind of how they get to this town, the free city of Quardon. Or whatever. I really want to say it's Quardon. I'm not going to guarantee that, but I'm going to say
they're
that.
not. They're going somewhere else. That's where the charcoal witch is going.
Yeah, no, that's the same place.
Then why did she turn around at the end?
No, I don't know. Oh, I don't know where they're going on vacation.
Okay.
I mean, like the 2 apprentices in the past are
okay.
They're going there with Nikke.
That was my bad.
They're going there with Nikke to take a job from the Magic Association. When they get there, this old man reports that there's a group of thugs in town, a gang, who are terrorizing witches, and basically because they're like, they want to be able to do more crimes, and mages get in the way.
And
so
yet
they're both using propaganda mixed with violence and hate crimes and stuff.
As well as a bunch of magic items that seem to be working really well against mages.
Yeah, except for I don't like. There was just one dude with a sword that can keep cutting. What does that mean? Can't all swords keep cutting?
I think it's either it doesn't get dull or it can cut through anything. Is what they meant.
Okay. And there's like guns that can keep shooting bullets and stuff.
Which I mean, that's kind of lame by magic standards. Like these people are like raining death down upon people, and bang bang.
The main focus is they don't get along, but the 2 of them eventually kind of settle their differences. They team up. They pull out knives in a sexy way, and then they beat the bad guys. God
damn it!
Well, you didn't like that scene?
When Nikke, Nike, however you pronounce it, did it, I was like, really?
In a sexy way.
It was because she looks so much like Elena. It's like there's nothing sexy about you.
Maybe. But yeah, one of the most important things to take away is at one point she beats them. They drop a box, which is the same box that we've seen earlier on. And you're just like, oh, maybe this is just a cute little nod. And then it kind of goes back to the future where the 2 of them are flying to their vacation. And then the Stardust Witch is like, oh, shit. Wait, that's the box. I've seen that before.
Witch.
The what?
Twilight Witch is the one who said it.
Was it? No.
Blonde one.
Yeah.
Twilight.
Is she?
Yeah. They specifically said she swapped them.
Why did they say Night Witch at some point?
Oh, maybe it is. Maybe it is Night Witch.
I mean, they said Night at one point. I don't know.
It might
if
be
there's
Night
2
Witch
separate
or it
names.
might be Twilight Witch.
Maybe
but
they
it's not
changed it.
Stardust. Stardust is the dark hair one.
Yes. Okay. So we'll get into that in a second too. But anyway, she realizes the box is recognizable, so she flies back. Which to me this might be the first time a story technically continues. Because I think the next episode is going to be about this. We can only assume.
Which I mean, Elena's going to meet Saya?
Yeah, Saya.
Saya, that's it. I knew that sheath, and I'm like,
the charcoal witch.
Charcoal. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, she's gonna find her. They're gonna open the box together because they're fucking stupid.
Yeah, of course.
And it's gonna be like
Pandora's box.
I want to bet it's gonna be like a Freaky Friday thing. It's gonna be like a body
wacky antics.
Exactly.
I mean, would the witch really be that concerned about going all the way, canceling her vacation to go all the way to the city?
Well, she doesn't know what it does.
Okay, I guess. But yeah, the thing is, both Saya is going there with a box, Elena is there at the end of the episode, and then they're going there. So this is a continuation episode, technically.
Yeah.
Instead of every other episode, which is kind of just a free episode by itself. So that's kind of interesting. I thought I'd point that out.
That is actually interesting. They're building continuity in this, which they're towards the end of the season, so maybe this will be a full arc.
It's true. This might be the only kind of arc we get, and it might be the final one. But then the most important thing to talk about before we move on is the hair color. So Nikke basically points them both witches when she's retiring, and she gives them their names, and she basically names the one with the dark hair, like basically the Stardust witch.
After the bright hair of the other one.
Yes, after the bright hair, and then she names the bright hair one the Twilight or the Night Witch, whatever. I swear I've seen them use both.
It might be a translation issue.
And they're like, they had two questions. They're like, wait, why? My hair is black. Why am I being named after the bright one? And she just like kind of gives them a face, and they're like, the one's like, oh, because like, we can kind of like complete each other. And she's just like, then she just smiles, like, okay, sure, that's the meaning. And then she's like, wait a minute, why are we named after hair color? And she's just like, because that's cool. And then you got to remember that both Elena was named the Ashen Witch after her hair color, who was also an apprentice, and the other one was named the Charcoal Witch after her. So,
I mean, she went with charcoal to be as close to ash as possible.
Yeah, it's true, but she also has dark hair.
I mean, true.
Also,
theoretically, and then there's the Lavender Witch
who
had lavender hair.
Yeah, so naming witches after hair color is cool. So that's what we've learned.
If it's just something like Nike started, I'm going to be genuinely angry about that. Like, how influential is this
The
chick?
thing is, we don't actually know. We know Elena loves her stories, which in our minds makes us think she's like a famous witch.
For all we know, it's a book she wrote just for her daughter.
It could literally just be her journal that Elena's reading. This might not be a publicized book, except for later they do kind of mention when Fran's writing a book, they kind of mention that like wants a book kind of like Nikke's when she's publishing it.
True.
But even just because it's published doesn't mean it's like a huge hit. Like we've only seen her interacting with other people, and neither times has anyone ever, like when they're in the episodes with Nikke, have they been like, oh, you're Nikke, because we assume that it's after she finished she wrote this book, but we don't know how popular.
That is true.
But yeah, those are the episodes. Not gonna lie, the last episode was much better. We wanted that darkness, but that was last week, and unfortunately, we were snowed in.
It happens.
If you have any thoughts or opinions about either of the episodes that we talked about, just let us know down in the comments. I hope you also liked that little girl murdering everybody.
And if you did, go watch Igarashi. It's right up your alley.
Exactly. Next up on the list, of course, we have I'm Standing on a Million Lives, episode number 10.
Yatsuya Yusuke dies, which
I didn't like the title. The title was dumb because they all died.
Every episode.
Yeah, I got what the title was going for. The whole point is in this episode, the death matters more than all the other ones. Yeah. Briefly, we should mention the last episode. This will be real quick. They finished the quest, kind of. Yeah. They did what they ended up having to bring. They brought the heads of the people from the Dione Kingdom or whatever like that. Yeah. And then that counted as something. Even the guys receiving were like, okay, thanks. Like, yeah, we'll take these, I guess. And it's like mission complete. So the only thing they have left to do is complete 5% of the map, which they're like, hey, let's split up. And that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, and then much like last week, there was a blizzard.
Yes, yeah. So the episode matched our lives. So literally what happened is they all decided to go separate ways. And I kind of liked this because, it's obviously a video game and they're treating it very much like a video game all the time. Like even in this multiple times when he mentions like thinking of killing the monster, for instance, he's like, it's just a virtual world. Yeah. But it's not really the monster that's, in his way the most. It's not really anything very supernatural or like very game-like that's wrecking them. It's just like straight up Mother Nature. Yeah. They all go their separate ways. They have to complete 5% of the map, which is so many kilometers, right when a blizzard hits. And then the thing is, half of them aren't prepared. I'm going to mention one thing I hated in a second, which I don't know if you had the same thought.
If you're thinking what I'm thinking,
you're thinking the fire witch didn't use her heating up power. Yes. That's what I'm thinking.
She has the ability to make an area of heat. She's like, fuck that. I'm just going to freeze to death.
Yeah, it drove me nuts. There's a chance that might be like a reveal in the next episode because we saw her in like a little hut and we like supposed to assume maybe she's like frozen or dead or something like that.
She looked frozen.
But maybe there's going to be like she pulls it through and or something like that using that or maybe it's probably going to be a Yotsuya isn't dead. He like somehow survived the fall or held onto something, and he's going to complete the mission as a hero.
It's going to be something like he fell down and there was like a tunnel. It like slid him along. And
yeah, we're not very worried as the audience that they did in fact lose the quest. But most of the episode is just you get one character at a time, showing a little bit about their character, a little bit more about their backstory, mixed with like them trying to push themselves to keep walking in this blizzard.
It was almost that introspective, retroactive look back episode you get sometimes with shows that don't know what they're going to do with their full runtime.
Yeah, because they're like, if we just said what happened in this episode, some of them walked a little bit, then they died. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, you or the blonde one.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, she had a bit of a mental breakdown. I don't know if it's because she saw a statue she recognized or because she was walking in circles or what.
It was because she was walking in circles. Yeah. She's like, God fucking damn it.
Yeah, like I had a small thought, like, are they gonna like Planet of the Apes this shit and this is the world in the future? But
no, it was just that she realized that she was walking in circles, and if she hadn't been doing that, maybe that would have been enough that they would have completed the quest. She might have fucked everyone over. You have a goddamn map ready to be opened up at any point.
That's my question because it didn't show.
You're almost as dumb as the fire one.
I mean, it didn't show her like having an extra area marked off. So unless she was like walking in a really tight circle,
Maybe she was. This is what happens when you're too busy reflecting on your past and you're not paying attention.
yeah, my friends are my strength. Why have I seen that Rockhead 4 times?
But yeah, most of the things we learn about the character's past is already things we know anyways.
Yeah,
Like they're all things we've seen previously. So nothing was really new. And then it was just slowly, as it was like showing them, each of them was like, oh, I'm going to keep moving on. I got to be strong because of my past. And then the next scene would show to them would be like, no, I can't go any farther.
yeah. It's just like, oh, it's too cold. We can't walk.
The only one who kind of pushed his limits is Yotsuya because he was able to equip a bunch more clothes because he had more classes and you can equip all the layers as long as, they don't like.
As long as it's physically possible, is what he said.
But he also then, on his way, he's like, I can do this. He's getting the most, like, his ass kicked here because he runs into like a Yeti monster and he's like, fuck, he has to fight the Yeti monster. He beats him and he's like, okay, I can still do this. I thought he was going to fucking tauntaun that thing. I thought he was going to use his knife, cut it open, heat himself up for a few hours.
It's like, I was almost expecting like some bullshit Bear Grylls stuff where he just like skins it. It's like, this will keep me warm. And just
Why didn't he do that?
because he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah, listen, what I would have done, killed the monster, right? He already had it dead. Tauntaun for like an hour. You're like, I can make 10 kilometers in 5 hours pretty easily after that. And then eat the babies, right? They're right there ready to be eaten.
Use them as mittens or something.
There's 3 of them. That's 2 mitts and 1 boot.
I mean, depending on how you do it, you could like use one as like a hand muffler, so you only need 3. And
yeah, or just cut one of their faces off and then put them on your face.
well, that got fucking dark. Jesus.
But yeah, and then that's all that happens at the very end. He beats the monster. You're like, okay, he's gonna do it, and then he falls.
Yeah,
he like steps on a place, it falls through, and it's like, and then
like,
it just shows him his screen. He's the only one now that has technically been confirmed as dead, which is maybe where the title came from. The other ones all shows a scene where they look very dead or passed out, but he's the only one we actually see the dead screen in the game come up.
Yeah.
And then the most important thing of the episode, the ending. Did you watch it?
I don't think I actually did this time.
It was a live action music video of a Japanese lady who just came up with a new song on November 26th playing in the snow. And then at the end, if you watched all the way through, she was like, hopefully you liked this special music video for I'm Standing on a Million Lives ending. And I was like, the fuck's going on?
I remember I saw what it was and I skipped it.
I was slightly curious. I think her name was Liu or something. I looked it up and it's like, yeah, this single came out like November 26, 2020, and it's on the special ending of the I'm Standing on a Million Lives. And I was like, okay, like sure, an episode they're all dying in a blizzard, and then we just showed this cute Japanese girl playing in snow.
Yeah, was this the one where she showed like the like snowsuit at the end too, where that was reversible?
Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
That was cool. Episode overall, I didn't mind it. I kind of liked. I liked the twist of like this blizzard kind of being the one that fucks them over, Mother Nature hitting them. But yeah, everything they showed us about the characters we'd already seen.
Yeah, this feels like the episode that you were supposed to watch if you hadn't watched anything else, so you could be up to speed.
Yeah, and I don't really know where they're going. Obviously, the next episode, it's someone's gonna have lived. They're gonna complete the quest, but then we only have 3 episodes left, and they have to go back to the real world. Are they gonna end in the real world? My guess is they're gonna end as soon as they get back. They're going to go to the real world, get their quest, and then they're going to come back into this. They're going to learn what the quest is. It's going to sound ridiculously impossible, and then it's going to cut the end of the season.
Yeah, but the thing is, because if they come back again, they're going to have another teammate.
Yeah.
So they're either going to fuck that up and not get another teammate.
It's possible.
Or we're going to get a character we've never seen. We're not going to get any attachment for him. We're just going to get them going, wait, what the fuck's going on? And then cut to black.
Cut to black.
But
would you be surprised?
No.
Yeah, me either. All we can really do is wait to find out. I'm excited to see how they survive the blizzard trauma. I'm assuming, as I said, my hope, just because it's so dumb if not, is that she was actually using her fire magic then to heat her up and she lived, and then she walks a little farther and they pass, because how can she forget that she literally, it was so useless, right? She has just the staff she holds, and it increases the air around her by like 10 degrees or something. Yeah, sure, you're not going to be boiling hot, but that's still 10 degrees less than freezing you were about to be. Like,
yeah, that's survivable.
It just made me mad the whole episode, but if they somehow turn that around to be a plot point, I'll at least be happier.
I mean, the thing I'm scared about is that what they might do is he might wake up, find another monster, stab it, get a new class. They just like lets him run really fast or something like that and complete it.
Cold resistance. He becomes a tundra survivor class.
He'll get snow mage.
I hope not.
Well, no, because fire mage had fire resistance.
I know, but I hope not. I just mean no as in no, please.
He's gonna get fucking snow mage.
Okay, your guess. Okay, Jimmy's guess right now is that he somehow kills a monster. Maybe when he fell on a monster.
No, you know what's gonna happen? The babies are gonna freeze to death, and he's gonna get the experience for it.
Oh, that's possible. They mentioned that.
Yeah.
How fast can those babies freeze?
I don't know.
And they won't starve because they'll eat their mom or dad.
You don't know that.
I hope.
You've dealt with Ty in our D&D campaign. You don't know what D.
Okay, so
Yetis
Jimmy's
do.
guess is that he gets experience from the Yetis freezing to death, levels up, and becomes a frost mage. My guess is and my guess is really my hope, is that the lady fire mage used her power the whole time, not dead, walks the rest of it, they win just in time.
She's too useless for that.
I know, I'm just praying because I don't want, in my mind, that's going to drive me nuts forever. If I'm like, why didn't you do this? So
Yeah.
that's my guess, just out of pure
I
hope.
wouldn't be surprised if that's what happens, and then they're like, "Why didn't you do this?" And she's gonna go, "Oh, right, I can do that."
Well, we're gonna have to wait about 5 more days to find out. Stick with us. If you have any theories down below, that's where you put them. Next up, of course, is Don Machi, season 3, episode number 10.
Invisible/forced breakthrough.
Okay, invisible, I can only assume leads to the fact that Belle goes invisible at some point, and forced breakthrough is where they're maybe breaking through by force.
Well, Belle. Oh my God, Welf and Makoto all go invisible.
Lots of invisible people in this episode, and then they're breaking through by force.
Yeah, not the most creative title.
Not the most creative title, no. Decent episode. I'm trying to think of what even happened. The one before, I think, was mainly just like plotting a little bit.
Yeah, the one before was them prepping for this, and this is what actually happened.
So yeah, it's not aggressively important. Once again, it was just Belle like always being like, "Oh, I'll handle this one alone," and they're like, "No, you won't, Belle. We all care." And then it's like, "Okay, perfect."
Yeah, they're basically just looking at him. It's like, first of all, we're all your friends. You're the leader of our familiar. We're gonna help you. And even if they did, he's got a fucking parade of girls that are gonna show up and help him no matter what.
Oh yeah, as they did.
Yep.
But yeah, the last episode was pretty much just prep for this like heist, this mission of getting the Xenos to back into the dungeon, back into Gnosis. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, Gnosis.
Yeah, back into Gnosis and saving them basically. And then this episode is obviously the execution of that plan. It starts off. Belle, everyone kind of hates him now. He's the main diversion. They're like, let's send him down a different path. That should draw out some people.
Yeah, except for Finn's is like, nah, that's a diversion.
Well, Finn's smart, and he's like, well, obviously Belle is the obvious diversion. We'll just send one person.
Finn is like that guy who just metagames the whole time.
He's got the meta pigeon on his shoulder.
Yeah, it's like, no, dude, it's a diversion. Don't listen for it.
Yeah, so Belle, his plan gets a little cucked because he expected more people, but then just Eyes shows up, and he's like, oh shit, I got to give her the slip.
Eyes is a pretty important one to pull away, I will say.
Yeah, but he's like, he still has part of this plan that isn't going to be a diversion. Like, he obviously still has something more important. That's why he needs to give him the slip. And to do that, luckily, he has 17 different women show up.
Yeah. Like, who did we have? We had Nazo.
You had the guild lady.
Yeah, Aina. Then you had Aisha and Ryu.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, so he had 5 separate women show up and talk to him.
The thing is that you got a little bit of comedy there, obviously, because especially the guild lady one was given some big misunderstanding talk.
Yeah.
And then Eyes is obviously watching this, someone that Belle has a little bit of a crush on. Being like, oh, is he actually like a delinquent?
Yeah,
a bad boy.
It's like, is he a player? It's like, what the fuck?
Kinda. The one important piece about the Belle thing to me is obviously that Hermes wanted her to deliver the bracelet,
which she couldn't get off her hand.
Yeah, so I'm like, what the hell? Were you like? But did he put it on her hand?
I think he did.
Because I wasn't sure if I was trying to watch. I think at the end I thought maybe like Belle put it on her or something like that, and then
I wouldn't be surprised. I didn't notice that. I didn't think that through.
I thought that because like when Belle was like holding her hands at the end, being like, oh, I'll explain all this later. I thought for some reason he like put it on her hand, and then she like looked back and she's like, huh. So obviously there's some sort of plot with that we're gonna have to wait and see.
I wouldn't. It's Hermes. He might have put it on her just to distract her, so he could get away after she created the distraction.
Maybe, but I feel like he has to have a bigger plan for that item.
True.
So we'll see what that does. And then obviously we have Welf and then Makoto go and they're helping the Xenos.
Yeah,
clan.
they're guiding them through the town with the help of Haruhime and Hestia.
Yes, and then some shit happens. What's his name?
Gareth.
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 The the dwarf looking guy with the axe.
Gnome, like what the fuck, man?
The dwarf looking guy with the axe jumps out, destroys some ground. Not that bad. They kind of get up and then Welf and Makoto fight him. They're using their magic swords to freeze him in place and that kind of shit. The big trouble with that is that of course Weene got separated.
Yeah,
she fell down a hole.
I wasn't even surprised when it happened.
The only one. She falls down a hole, and we'll get to what happens to her later. And then most of the episode is the plot basically thinks the Soma clan. It's the Soma or no Loki, the Loki familia.
Yeah. Soma is the drunk
alcohol
family.
one. Yeah. The Loki familia thinks that there's 4 entrances to Gnosis when there's actually more. So the plan is to get them into one of the ones they don't know about. Some parts of the plan go pretty well. The part with Lily changes into what's his face?
She changes into Finn. Yeah.
Yeah, she changes to Finn, goes to the one closest to the door they're gonna take. Like, oh, he wants you back at
Yeah,
command.
she tricks Raoul into thinking that he's been called back. And
Yeah, she also at one point turns into the bunny monster and tricks people into following a path that isn't the right
Yeah.
path. So she's putting in work.
I mean, she does every time. Remember the Familia war game?
Yeah, I mean, whatever her power, like the
Oh God, what's it called?
midnight bell.
I think it's like Cinderella or something because it's at the stroke of midnight's bell.
Yeah, Belle is also a character.
I know they're not subtle.
Yeah, she puts in a lot of work. So some of their plans going right. Belle's was a little bit off, but he then turned invisible. He escaped.
Yeah.
And then obviously the biggest part at the end that kind of disrupts their plan is the fact that Weene got separated from the group. Haruhime leaves the command to go try and find her, and then Hestia's like, "Yo, Belle, Weene's gone." And then the end of the episode is Weene coming up out of like the sewer thing, finding stupid double blade helicopter Thanos chick. Yeah, I didn't watch the Sword Oratorio, whatever it's called, so I don't know all of them.
It's not even that. I play the mobile game, so I know all these characters. So
yeah, and she's like, "Oh, well, look like I found one." So and then she pulls out her Thanos helicopter blades, and that's where the episode ends.
I mean, I will say, I think out of all of them, she's probably the one most likely to go. Wait, it can talk?
Yeah, you'd think like Weena not only talks, she's also adorable, right? She would definitely fall for her adorable trap.
Because I mean, even when they were fighting before, she was like playing with a couple of them, just like, wait, this is like a level 4 adventure. What the hell?
Yeah, and those were the ones that didn't talk though. But Weena comes in with her, she's very cute. She's like, "Yo, listen, lady," and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa."
Yeah, I mean, she did backhand the rabbit with the adorable coat, but
stupid bitch. Yeah, hopefully she just gets her ass kicked by someone. I don't know.
I mean, the problem is she's level 5.
And then, of course, my favorite part of the episode, they say his name again. Do you think I wrote it down? Nope. But when at one point when Lead does his howling to call the other ones that are missing, they're like, "We didn't hear Minotaur boy." But so he's either dead or he's hiding, and then they do show him just sitting somewhere in the bottom of a well, being like, waiting his time.
Like, what the fuck?
And then, of course, they also show what's her face, the main evil bitch who hasn't been that evil yet.
Oh, Freya.
Yeah, Freya with her man boy.
King.
Discussing some more things again.
Yeah, or Atarl the king,
Yeah, discussing more things again. And we know there's some sort of connection between them and the Minotaur. Probably the Minotaur they gave the sword to.
Yeah.
We can only assume.
That's my guess anyways.
That seems like a pretty sturdy guess.
But it sounded like she was telling Atarl to go fuck shit up to give them a chance, but...
Yeah, but she's like that fucking... She's got a hand in all the plots, We don't...
Yeah.
Well, she's obviously bad, but she's not always bad in the sense where she just wants to fuck over Belle. She has got a...
She's obsessed with Belle.
She's got a weird obsession, as all the women do.
At the end of last season, she went and she personally destroyed Ishtar because she tried to lay a hand on him. Yeah. So...
Which I liked.
Yeah.
So it was a good episode overall. It didn't have quite the emotional impact as the 2 episodes ago where Weenie died and came back. Definitely a little more action than the last episode though, which was at least one of the ones we were okay with missing because it was really just a lot of setup.
Yeah, I mean, I think the next one's gonna have a lot more of the action direct conflict. Like this one, I think the most we got was a little bit of Ryu against Eyes with level up, but
yeah, and even like barely anything. I think they pretty much just crossed swords.
Yeah, it was just the initiation of the fight, which I do want to know what happened with that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, we'll hopefully find out next time.
Hopefully, yeah.
We'll be talking about that next week, of course. If you have any comments about Don Machi or any theories or anything like that, be sure to leave them down below, as always.
Yep.
Next up on the list is King's Raid, episode number 10. Okay, so quick discussion about episode number 9. I felt like they were really close to going with a Roy backstory.
Yeah, they hinted at it and everything.
They were so close. They were constantly
tied to like undead. He knows about them. He knows how to destroy them.
They were so close, and I was like, "So fucking help me, God, King's Raid! If you try and give me the Roy backstory, the episode after the Frey backstory, I'm gonna kill you."
Yeah, there's exposition dumps, and then there's this. Like, what the hell?
Nothing important learned from that episode. We already know as audience what undead are. Most of the episodes, people being shocked about what undead are, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. And the one guy's like, "What do you mean my wife isn't alive anymore? She's screaming and trying to kill me." It's like
that's like a plot I've seen in so many like Western live action shows before about someone not accepting that their loved one is a zombie basically, and they keep them captive. That it didn't like impress me. It wasn't like shocking. It didn't blow my mind. Anything like that.
I mean, there was that, and then I think the worst part about this is that there was like a whole like 5 minutes where they were trying to sexualize the mage chick.
Yeah, oh yeah, while she's like laying on the ground.
Yeah, she's like doing a bunch of poses,
doing some yoga.
It's like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, we'll just skip over that episode because literally nothing important happened other than they hinted that Roy has something to do with undead. Like, I mean, I'm sure his backstory is his family was turned undead. He had to deal with them.
Yeah, I'm gonna say one thing. If we weren't talking about it for this podcast, I would have dropped the show with that episode.
Yeah, for sure. With the combination of all these characters' backstory episodes, the show would have been dropped.
Yeah.
More importantly, this episode, we got another Dark Elf episode.
Yeah, that does save it a little bit.
It wasn't as because it was pretty much just the last Dark Elf episode. Dark Elf episode done again. It wasn't as like
Yeah.
impactful.
I mean, we got a little bit more backstory on Tam. And
Tam. I kept saying ham. I was so close. I said ham with 2 M's. It's Tam with 2 M's.
yeah.
But yes, it's a lot of the episode. It's like exactly like the last Dark Elf episode. You get to see the main Dark Elf dealing with the princess girl. You get to see her talking to her father, him being like, "Oh, can we trust these people?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, we can trust them. They're helping us. They're working for this guy." And he's like, "Oh,
You're naive.
yeah."
It's
He's like, "You're naive. You shouldn't just trust people like this."
It's like, dude, you're laying in bed. You can't get up. Like, calm the fuck
But
down.
it's a good point though, because we can't trust people like.
Oh
him.
yeah, I know. Like, he is 100% evil.
Yeah.
But
And then, but like a lot of it, then she explains to what's his name, Rahid, something along the main Dark Elf kid.
I want to say either Reed or Rahid. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Rahid or something like that. But anyway, she's explaining to him, being like, like you were right. The kingdom, they were basically worried too much about like the outside, so they left the inside of Orato. What the hell's it called?
Ortos or
Something along those lines. They left the inside to the nobles.
yeah.
And obviously nobles are pretty corrupt, especially as we've seen from these ones, which is kind of why the city's kind of gone to shit.
Yeah.
She explains that she wants to fix that. And then, it's a lot of the characters are being very nice to him. Like we see, what the hell's his name? Castle's friend. He was important in the first 2 episodes, then never again.
Oh my god, what's his name? It's like Franz or it's something I've seen in a Fire Emblem game, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, he's being nice to him. You have a lot of characters being nice to him, all that kind of stuff. And then once again, we get Tam with the baker lady.
Yeah.
Get a cute little romance going on there. She makes him a cake. He gives her flowers, that kind of stuff. And then, they find out that he's meeting up with this chick. He's meeting up with this girl who's, from this town. And they're like, oh, like he's meeting up with her in secret. What's he planning? And then Rahid, name is like, I trust him. He's like, just think about what you're doing. But like, I'm not worried about him like betraying us.
Yeah, he's not going to just tell her everything. He's not completely stupid. He's got a crush.
And then he does have a conversation with I don't know her name either, like Rahid's sister. And she's just like, yeah, like, listen. He's like, yeah, like, does the world always have to go on like this? And she just kind of explains, like, they killed, as we already know, like, my parents died and that kind of stuff. And, my brother took care of me. They show a little flashback of her, her being hungry, the brother giving the bread, even though he was probably hungry too.
Yeah.
And then just being like, like his dream is this. His dream is to take over this place. And it's like, she's like, you can go off and live with this girl and be happy. She's like, I'll have no issue. She's like, but if you interrupt his plans to do this, then I'll kill you. And he's like, that's fair. And then the next scene we get to see is he goes back to meet this girl. He gives her the flowers. It's still kind of cute. And then he explains his backstory. He explains, like, we were living in peace. The reason I don't like birthdays, or the reason I don't celebrate birthdays anymore, is because on my birthday, we were waiting for my dad. My dad shows up injured. He then gets killed. Then they kill my mom while she protects me and my brothers. And they kill my brothers. And he gets away and he joins them. And he's like, there's a invisible barrier separating the two of us that like can't be gone. And then he's like, and then she's like, oh, but like, why are you guys helping out the town? Why are you fighting off the demons? And he's like, we're not doing it for the town. We're not heroes. And then, but he turns back and he's like, but like, I do want to change the world. He's like, I intend to change this world.
Yeah.
And then he said like, goodbye. And then he walks away.
Which, I mean, dude, if you're gonna break up with her, don't bring flowers. I just want to say.
No. He did it the right way, Jim. You bring flowers. That was a clean breakup by him. 10 out of 10. She's gonna be like, oh, he's so nice. He still wants to change the world. And then, he started with a sad. She can't be mad at him when she just told a story about how his whole family all died.
I mean, you're not wrong.
So, she's not gonna be really important again. This is just kind of showing more of his backstory, and the fact that he wants to. He doesn't necessarily want just pure revenge, right?
Yeah.
Even. She says the sister at one point says that like in her mind the opposite of revenge is just forgiveness, and she's like, are you ready to forgive them? And then he doesn't really answer because that's like the opposite, right? It's either you want revenge on them or you want to forgive them, but it kind of seems like at the end his statement is like he wants to find kind of a way in between.
Yeah, he wants the world to be a better place, but he doesn't want to actually pick a side on this, I think.
Yeah, and then we're gonna have to see eventually if the Rahid character, if he kind of goes through his own thing, because he gave a couple ominous smiles in this episode.
Yeah, but I feel like something's gonna happen with the princess.
Something's gotta happen. And then obviously the ending thing is they're gonna go to the place where the demon lord was summoned last time.
Yeah.
And then he's like, let us be the vanguard. She's like, okay. And then he gave an ominous smile. I'm like, because he says in there that once the demons are defeated, that the people will no longer need them. And that seems like to me like that's like he's saying like once the demons are defeated, they've like missed their opportunity. And I'm like, dude, are you going to try and take over the kingdom before the demons are defeated? Because then what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So that leaves a little bit a little bit of questioning, but we got to get to the goddamn orc town before the season ends. So next episode, they're
did you watch the preview?
No.
The preview showed the orcs.
Okay, I was gonna say, because in this, when they talk to the dad of the Elise, or whatever the hell her name was, and, he's like, "Oh, I can take you to the path in the morning." So that was implying that they're pretty close. So I expected that's what we'd be seeing next episode. So
yeah, the after credit scene, I think it is them arriving in the gorge that's been stained red with the blood of the orcs who've died in wars. And
cool.
like they showed a little bit of the orc designs, and I'm not that impressed.
Okay.
For them not having shown it until now.
I was gonna say I'm gonna have to wait till next episode to see it. Yeah, I don't know. Once again, I never mind the Dark Elf episode. I prefer the political drama of that more than the very RPG journey of Castle and his friends.
Yeah, because the thing is, we're seeing like the grinding episodes and like the support conversations of the RPG, not the actual story.
Yeah. There's really been, it's just demons show up when they're needed every single episode to give us some sort of plot point or some character information, which is just never what we want. The Dark Elf episodes, we don't need demons to continue the plot. We're just getting the character drama from the characters' interactions with other people, which is how you're supposed to build a good story.
Yeah, because we haven't seen them actually fight demons in a few episodes, have we? From the Dark Elves.
No, we don't really see them fight anyone these days. All theirs is more just like human drama.
Yeah, they get back. It's like, we killed a bunch of demons.
Yeah, like we don't need to see them killing demons. We know they can kill demons. Instead, we're seeing them try and deal with their dark pasts and that kind of stuff, which is much better right now.
What do you want to bet that the next one we're going to get a backstory from is going to be the angry dude?
Oh, yeah. I don't know if they're going to give him a backstory. They might give him my family died. But I feel like they want him to be the angry character that we don't need to like.
Yeah, I'm just worried with like the Frey story and all that. They're going to dump some like over elaborate dark backstory onto him.
I feel like they have two different writers, one writing the Dark Elf story and one writing the Castle story.
That would make a lot of sense, actually.
And the Dark Elf one's like political drama and thought and character, and the other one's like stabby demons, undead fire mage, yoga poses.
Yeah, I feel like they wanted the fire mage to turn into the new Megamine.
Yeah, they definitely did.
Like
but it's not.
She's got the outfit and everything.
It's not working though. So yeah, I mean, next week we're finally going to see the orcs. That's really all we have to look forward to.
Yeah.
We're going to see how this season ends, and we're going to see if this is if it ends in like a big cliffhanger for the next season or how it goes. We're just going to have to wait to see till next week. That'll be episode 11 that we're talking about next week. If you have any thoughts on this episode or any thoughts about King's Raid in general, leave them down below.
Yeah, let us know if you're still watching it.
Yeah, every week we ask if you're that guy who loves King Raid, just to let us know why. So continue that. Next up, obviously, one of the bigger animes, Jujutsu Kaisen, episode number 10.
Idol Transformation.
Okay, so I'm going to say right now, I watched a few things about Jujutsu Kaisen, other than, obviously we haven't talked about episode 9, and episode 10 is the most recent one. But I watched this like deep dive. I think it was by Mother's Basement. I watched the deep dive into like the opening.
Okay, yeah.
And all the different pictures, and because I always skip the opening. I just watched the first part where it's like the subway's filling up, and then I always got to the very last scene.
Right.
And there's some themes in there that I'm curious about, obviously, especially now that we've gotten to, I should have written his name down, the character that most of this last episodes have been about.
I want to say Mugen, but I don't think that's right.
I don't know. Either it's a classic character being bullied story, and then obviously in one of the last...
I feel like it's taken to the extreme.
Yeah, the last episode we talked about at the very end was the kids killed in the theater.
Yeah.
He ran out, asked the guy, "Did you kill these people?" Then obviously the next one we find out, those people were bullying him before anyways. He's not really upset that they're dead at all.
Yeah.
He's probably, if anything, pretty happy. And since then he's developed a friendship with the guy. And then even in this it was this episode where he's like, basically he's giving him some sort of power. Yeah. We haven't seen it yet. Because right when in this episode, he got mad at the teacher briefly, and he looked like he was just about to kill him or something, and then obviously Itadori jumps in.
Yeah, he jumps in and saves the dude's life. So
yeah, on accident, he didn't know he was going to use power. He's just jumping out to grab that thing. The thing is, based off the intro and what I've seen, is that these two are going to become friends.
Yeah,
in like a really positive way. But I like the character. I'm wondering where they're going to take the friend character. I think he's going to die relatively soon. I think it's going to be like he's going to become friends. He's going to die, and that's going to be something that haunts Itadori for most of the part. But I wonder like I wonder if he's going to die in like a bad way. Because I just have so much curiosity about where they're going to take.
You're
this
wondering if he's going to go evil and get killed, or
well, yeah, because we discussed this last time, and you said he could be. Our theories was I said that he was going to go bad. I was like, he's like too dark. He's going to be that dark character. He might become friends. He's kind of like the Sasuke.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh yeah, but maybe he could just be the next student who joins like the Jujutsu Tech. And I was like, he could be. I was like, but it seems like what they're hinting, especially. And then now that we've seen his backstory, it's like, okay, he's going bad. But then at this point, we got the question whether or not meeting Itadori, such a bright light, someone who's not anything like all the people he's met in his schools and stuff is going to change it. So I like that a lot now, because now we're kind of curious. We're like, okay, like where is he going to go now?
Yeah, he could very much go down either path.
He's probably right on the line, as we've seen. He was just about to cross it probably by killing that guy. He's right there, but he hasn't crossed the line yet. And now he's met Itadori. They're going to go talk. He's going to figure out some stuff about him. He's going to ask about the people at the movie theater. And like that's going to be all in the next episode. And I'm just excited to see in which path they take him. My guess is that he's going to die, though.
You know what? I wouldn't be surprised. A series like this needs something dark.
Yeah, he's going to die. I don't know if he's going to die in a good way or in a bad way, if he's going to die making the right choice or a wrong choice. But I think it's gonna haunt Itadori, obviously. He's going to always think about the friend he lost, or the one he wasn't powerful enough at that point to help, and that's going to drive him forward. Because other than his promise to his grandpa, he doesn't have as big of a driving factor as many shonen characters have.
That is true. I feel like his whole thing is like, I want to choose how I die. Is his big one right now.
Yeah, like he's like his basically thought process is that I have the power to help, so I'll help, right? Which is good. Obviously, that's like a lot of shonen characters always have that trait. Yeah. But he needs something like a personal stake in it. Still,
he doesn't have that I have to prove myself attitude. He doesn't have that I failed to do this in the past, I have to succeed now.
Yeah, like most characters have something. It's almost like if you think about someone like Ichigo in the first season of Bleach, he didn't really have, he got the power because it was like a circumstantial thing.
Yeah.
And he didn't really have much to do with it. And then when you get to like the season 2 where they had to break in the Soul Society, it's like now his friend has been stolen from him, and it's like now this is personal.
Yeah, he got a little bit from I think it was the Kingfisher.
Yeah.
But even that was kind of
it's like it comes down to Itadori needs some sort of stake. He needs to want a new reason to become stronger, and I think it's going to be the loss, like him not at this point being good enough to save his friend. Whether that means he wasn't good enough to save him from going down the wrong path, or maybe the kid doesn't die. Maybe he just turns evil, and Itadori's always like, I could have stopped that. Yeah. And you get like a Naruto Sasuke, constant rivalry battle thing that might show up, or a hint in the background that we're not going to see for 100 episodes. But
that is true. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they go down he turns evil and just kind of fades into the background with this villain. But
yeah, just to kind of, we get some hints of him every now and then. It's something that Itadori's always thinking about, like, oh, I'll have to fight him eventually, or maybe like he's like, I'll save him eventually. He's like, I'll convince him to come back.
Which I don't think you can do that once you start killing people.
Yeah, which is why right now we still haven't seen him cross the line. So for us as the audience, it's like, will he cross that line or won't he? We're gonna have to wait to see. Obviously, a lot of the episode 2 is taken up with the fight between I actually really like his character.
Yeah, I wish I knew his name.
Yeah, I know. That's the shitty part. Obviously, he's like the salary man. He's like, I'm getting paid overtime now. And then like once it hits like the 6 p.m., he like undoes the tie. He's like, now I'm officially on overtime, and he's like mad.
Yeah, he's like powering up. The guy's like, what the fuck? It's like,
yeah, he's like, oh, your power's increasing. And then obviously the main villain there we see is that as long as his whole thing is like, the shape, it's like which came first, the soul or the body. And then he says the soul comes first, and you could just shape the body around the soul, which is what he does to other people. He uses like jujutsu sorcerers that he's changed the little guys and throws them out as like monsters.
Yeah, it's like, I found random people. They are now monsters, and I'm going to throw them at you.
Yeah, and then that's at the one point he specified too. He's like, yeah, like I found that like humans don't like stay alive long enough. He's like, except for jujutsu sorcerers. He's like, they stay alive a little longer. Yeah. And then obviously you see the ones like crying, and then he's like, oh, I don't get emotional at my work. And he's like, yeah, you're fucking lying. I can feel it.
Yeah, your soul is quivering, which I think is one of those like really generic
I did like
lines.
I did like probably my two favorite parts from that little battle scene was one where the villain's like, I'm glad you're not Gajo, which I was like, okay, yeah. he's like, he's like, thank God you're not Gajo.
Yeah, that would have been a whole.
And then the other
fight.
part where it shows like the little cartoon Satoru Gajo in the one character's head being like, I'm gonna murder you now, and he's like, they have the same energy. I don't like it.
That is fucking true. God damn it.
It was a very entertaining fight, and as we've already seen, the animation is really good.
Yeah, it's definitely top tier. It's probably one of the better shown in the season.
Yeah, like he cuts off his hand at one point. The dude's just like, oh, that's cool. Like, how'd you do that? Like, because he has a special power with like the hitting the lines and that kind of shit.
Yeah.
The guy changes his legs into fucking like hooves at one point to move faster because he can just shape his body however he wants as long as it's around his soul.
I don't think that's how that works, but
yeah, I don't know. It was a cool fight. It was a good episode. I'm just really curious in the future about where they're gonna take that. I'm gonna have to learn his name by the next episode, where they're gonna take him and Itadori. because I feel like we're gonna get like a Naruto Sasuke relationship.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I wasn't expecting to put off the tournament arc this long.
Yeah, that's because I knew that because the last time, which would have been episode 8, we talked about it. I said like I was like, oh, we're gonna get like a couple episodes with this like whole theater thing, and you're like, I think that's just gonna be half the next episode, and then we're gonna go into the tournament arc.
I mean, I wasn't expecting to actually introduce the character and actually like get into like properly bringing him into the story.
Yeah, we like in this last one too. They showed the bullying a little more in detail. Obviously, he tried standing up at one point, being like, can I have my movie? They just kicked his ass. We've seen them try. They fed him a cockroach at one point.
Yeah,
like
we've seen them like putting out cigarettes on his forehead.
Yeah, so this is some hardcore bullying.
Yeah, and like the teacher saw it, was like, well, I'm not getting involved with this shit.
Well, the teacher's like, man, your friends just died. You don't even want to go to their funeral. He's like, my fuck.
Yeah, which the teachers fucking saw him beating the crap out of him. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah, so kind of a dick move. But yeah, that's the whole point. This character is intriguing. Obviously we get in a lot of darker animes, you get the bullied kid all the time who becomes evil. But this right now, at this point, there's still a chance he doesn't become evil. So I just want to see which path he takes.
Yeah. And
we're going to find out more about that in the next episode when he has to talk with Itadori and they find out how much he knows. And, it's a good, because they're going to become friends. They have to bond more at this point. They can't just instantly go off to whatever path they want to go off because then there's no connection.
Yeah. The biggest problem is if they kill him off too quickly, it kind of cheapens it. Mm-hmm. But if they bring him in, that means that we've got 2 Sasukes in the group and 4 people total, which is just a little bit much.
Yeah. There could be a thing where like they talk, they build like a little bit of a bond, and they kind of meet up every now and then, do like friendly things, but in the background, the character's still kind of questioning his evil deeds. He's still hanging out with that one evil guy. Like,
true.
I don't know where they're going to take it. That's just one of the reasons I'm excited. Yeah. Other than that, the episode didn't have tons to talk about. It was definitely an entertaining episode, but not tons of content to discuss.
Yeah, a lot of it was taken up with the fight, which is you can't really discuss a fight like that.
No, they fight like they do some kicks and stuff.
Yeah, like we could go into the details of the guy's power being able to cut like what is it 7/8 of the way through or something like that.
Yeah, he just like draws along the line. And it cuts no matter what. Like
yeah.
as long as he like follows the line or whatever, it just cuts. It doesn't matter.
As long as he cuts at a specific ratio, it always goes through.
Yeah. It was a good episode though. I'm still really excited for the tournament arc, and I'm excited to see where we go with this next character. I don't know when we're getting the tournament arc now because I don't know how long this can go on. It might be next season
at this rate.
It could be. I have no idea.
This could just be a whole setup for the next season where we're going to see the muscle dude, the gun chick show up.
Well, we're only at episode 10, and I think this is going to be a 25, so maybe they'll take the next 5 episodes of this big arc or something, then finish the next half of the season.
Yeah, we'll see it in the winter season, basically.
Yeah, exactly. So just keep watching. Jujutsu Kaisen is one of those still ones that I think is pretty popular. It has the potential to be the next big shonen.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to what's the most recent shonen that got huge? My Hero.
My Hero is the big one, and even that one suffered a little bit due to some...
since the golden era of anime. My Hero had some bad arcs, especially more recently.
Yeah, the author had a couple of missteps as well that apparently affected its popularity severely, rather.
But yeah, My Hero is the closest thing we've had since, in my opinion, like the Naruto, the Bleach.
Fire Force kind of took off, and...
We're gonna get into that one in a second too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it has an opportunity to become a real big shonen if it plays its cards right. And from what I've heard about the manga, people still love it. Yeah. The manga's going strong, obviously, and people are saying that some of the arcs that come up are just like amazing. So lots to look forward to.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And yeah, if you have any thoughts about Fire Force, if you have any thoughts about Jujutsu Kaisen, any theories, anything like that, be sure to put them down below. Just as I said before, no spoilers. So if you know spoilers.
Yeah. If there's something we missed, point it out to us. And
yeah, of course. Okay. Next up on the list, the second last thing is Fire Force Season 2, Episode number 23, I believe.
Firecat.
Okay, so I had positives and I had negatives about this episode.
I've got mostly negatives.
Okay. My positive is that I didn't actually mind the Tamaki part to an extent. I liked the evolution of her power, but I didn't like how it was achieved. And her backstory was so boring.
I mean,
her backstory is just... Now, I understand that not every character in the world has to have a good backstory, but her, every other character we've seen get a backstory, there's something sad. Hers just I just kind of conformed. It's so do most teenagers. That's just kind of how school works.
Yeah, her whole thing was some girls bullied me because I dry humped her boyfriend. It's and?
Yeah, it's literally just that she followed whatever people said to do. She just kind of did it. She's like, yeah, sure. They're like, oh, you should become a sister. She's like, yeah, I could do that. And then when her fire powers came out, she's like, they're like, hey, you should become a sister at the first. And she's like, yeah, I kind of want to become a sister at the first now. She would just conform to whatever the people said. And then yes, her lucky ledger thing got her in a little trouble with some of the famales.
Yeah, they made her sit in the corner. And she just kept with that. It's
we're talking about bullying, and the last thing we talked about Jujutsu Kaisen, making me eat cockroaches and putting cigarettes on. The bullying she received was sit in the corner.
Yeah, don't sit near my boyfriends Like what?
Yeah, and then obviously that just leads into the nice moment later in the episode where then she's sitting in the corner, and then Shinra's like, "Nah, sit over here," and she's like, "No, no, no, my lucky lecher will just annoy you." And then he goes to sit over there, being like, "Nah, I'm the devil. You go sit over there. I deserve the corner seat." She's like, "No, no, no, I deserve the corner seat." And then he's like, "Yeah, your lucky lecher thing does make things a little awkward." He's like, "But like, we're all like a team kind of thing."
My big thing is like it's a long ass table. You can just sit at either end of it.
Like what is she gonna do? Is she just eating food? Even if she's in the corner, she slips with the soup, disintegrates all of her clothing off her body. Whether she's in the corner or at the table, it's not gonna make a difference.
Yeah, and like she somehow like ended up with like her chest like implanted on his head while they were eating.
Yeah, like she was like planking. She was literally doing the planking somehow on
like
his
I know
face.
she's flat, but like
yeah.
Please don't hate me for that comment.
But my main issue is that this is episode number 23. That means we got two. I don't. Was it 26 episodes in season 1? Was it?
I think we're probably gonna get a 26. Yeah.
So that means we're 2, maybe 3 episodes left, and this is the plot we're now on. We're on Tamaki's growth episode, not even an arc.
I knew that they had to do something with her because they literally killed Juggernaut to give her character development.
Well, they didn't kill him. He's still alive.
Is he?
Yeah, they actually mentioned that he's gonna live. He was fine. He was undergoing treatment when he left, but he didn't die. But
I missed that part. I knew that they were taking his body out.
Yeah, he went through a lot, and obviously the other character died, and she just blames all of that on herself. Yeah, so we knew that, but like it was so forced into one episode, and then the reason their like explanation of why it was so forced and like how it could be that much achieved in one episode is that she kind of had this the whole time.
Yeah,
but she was like holding herself back,
which I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It took playing tag with some twins. Not somebody literally almost dying for you to bring this out.
Yeah, no. Tag.
And then there was even the fact that she went through like 2 different forms. She had like the freaking like half cat mask, which like
Yeah, and then after that, she went to this more like there was like the mouth that was there.
Yeah, it was just like the outline, which is like more of a Cheshire Cat thing, which I kind of liked.
Yeah, but like just most characters kind of develop these things slowly, and she just got all in one episode.
Yeah,
and then their explanation of how that could be possible is like, no, she had it the whole time. She was just holding herself back from conformity.
I also want to know, like when he's talking to her about this, and he's like, "Yeah, you had this the whole time. You're just holding yourself back." Then her clothes just fall off. It's like just cheapening the whole moment.
Yeah, but that's a classic her. That's the show's favorite thing to do.
I know, but the thing is, like, this season has had so much comedic relief in it. I don't think we need the comedy relief character anymore.
You know what episode didn't have comedic relief?
Which one?
Joker Benimaru one.
I know.
The best episode still.
Like, episodes like that are what saved this season, and then we get stuff like this. Anything with Tamaki, I just don't like watching at this point.
And then, so most of it was Tamaki episode. There was a little bit about Arthur and Shinra training. Their training was just being like...
Yeah, it's like, we're going to train the fight or flight instinct in you, and then they light them on fire. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so that's like, okay, and then at the very end, she joins too, or not?
She showed up to train with them, and then he had her play tag.
Yes, and then I'm assuming though at the end, now that she's mastered that, maybe she's going to join with their fight or flight thing.
I don't know, because like the thing she got was like the Nekomata Fireball.
Yeah,
which
her fire Rasengan.
Yeah, which doesn't look any more impressive than the most basic techniques anyone else has busted out.
No, but not everyone's meant to be the best, I guess.
I know, but I just want her to be something other than comedic relief and cheesecake at this point.
Sakura. She's the soccer of the group.
I don't even think she's that.
Well, Sakura wasn't really that sexualized.
I know.
I don't know. But the thing is, they're on episode 23.
Yeah.
They're going to have to finish the training arc next episode because obviously we haven't learned exactly what their training's going to come down to. And then you're telling me they're going to get 1, maybe 2 episodes of finishing off the season?
I don't think they are. I think they're going to leave it on a cliffhanger where they're going to go save Sho from being the one chick's doll.
Well, that's going to suck.
It is, especially considering I know that they dedicated time to Tamaki's growth.
Yeah.
I know I'm bitching here, but...
Well, it's like the same thing. We didn't get to talk about it last week, but the end of the last little arc inside the place was so kind of shit.
Yeah.
It was just Maki shows up out of nowhere being like, no, I'm done my character arc now. I'm fine in the thing. And they're like, okay, sweet. And then this big explosion they planned can be negated by 2 people. One of which, like, the brother is just like, yeah, my master of memory will come in handy. You're like, oh, you had that? And then he's like, I remember all the pathways I've been to.
Yeah, like the day before I came down here, I memorized all the different pathways in this uncharted area.
That the whole arc was just like, this was like such a big, this is like, they're going to destroy the entire place. Like they're going to destroy all of Tokyo.
Yeah.
Such a big arc. And it's just negated by 2 people. And then it was barely like it was so anticlimactic. And then like same with Maki's finish of her story of her little character.
Yeah, she just showed up. It's like, by the way, this little emblem I had was a communicator, and they called me down.
Yeah,
Cool.
they're like, yeah, turns out I was meant to be here the whole time. We're like, yeah, we already knew that.
And she's just able to guide this massive explosion down through like cracks in the stone, and they're like, oh, we'll just like put it onto bare ground that'll even all the heat so we don't boil to death. It's like, what?
Yeah, it was just kind of like nonsense. And then this episode was just a little bit of character growth, but it just seems a little late in the season for character growth.
Yeah.
Which is
especially for motherfucking Tamaki.
Yeah, which is some part. I just don't know how the season's going to end, and when it ends, I really don't know how I'm going to feel about season 2. Other than so far, if I had to put it right now, other than like probably 2 very specific episodes, the whole thing has been pretty disappointing.
Yeah, because even the whole resolution with oh god, what's his name? The doctor, the bug guy.
Oh, the captain of the third,
Yeah.
Giovanni.
I knew it was something for Pokemon. Yeah, the whole resolution with Giovanni is just Arthur showed up and cut his head off. It's like, what?
Yeah, and one of the more important parts about this, I guess, this episode we didn't mention is that after Giovanni mentions that you can only have like an Adola link with someone who has basically seen Adola, like the universe, and then Shinra thinks back, being like, wait a minute, I actually had this with Conroe, whatever the hell his name was.
Yeah.
So like, and then that makes them a little suspicious of him. But even then, that story gets really figured out fast when he's like, oh, I was fighting that crazy Infernal that showed up, and after I beat him, I kind of saw this dark world. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
The only important part from that is like the kind of weird hint where he's like, yeah, it felt like a me basically.
Yeah.
Like they had all the same moves and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Hibana's like, oh, I'm gonna go research doppelgangers now. It's
yeah.
like, okay.
But that's like the first hint of anything like that we've seen, because we've also seen other horned Infernals, and none of them were like doppelgangers of anyone else in the show. Or
I mean, maybe it's something like the Horned Infernals are tied to like a pillar or something. And
maybe. You think that if he, I guess, I don't know. How do you, because if he saw Adola, isn't it possible maybe because his fire powers were like gone because of his, whatever the hell they call it?
Oh,
Tephrosis or something,
yeah.
whatever the hell.
Well, I mean, because the other captain saw Adola too.
Yeah, the first.
Not him. Well, he did too.
Yeah.
But
Because everyone loses, like everyone gets like,
marked.
yeah, just disfigured or something, right? That's why
Yeah,
except for this guy just got a cut on his nose.
Yeah, he got a cut on the nose. The one guy got his eye. The captain got a big slash.
Yeah, except for still, we haven't got the answer because we haven't been told yet that Joker has seen it. Yet he is missing the opposite eye of the captain, which is a little strange.
Yeah.
So, and there's the connection there we've seen in the show. I would like that to be answered because that was the interesting plot.
Yeah.
There's possible that the show ends either with, as you said, just set up building to what they're going to do the next season. I still think it's possible that there's going to be more with the first captain. Maybe a fight.
I hope so.
Maybe a fight with him, as we've seen Shinra fighting him many times in the opening. Sometimes openings don't always lead to stuff. We did see him briefly fight him early on.
Yeah, I think that's all it was. Probably
But
just a red herring.
the episode was overall pretty disappointing. It was just really late in the game to give us Tamaki character growth and all forced into a single episode.
Yeah, like you could have taken all this time, give her little bits here and there. You didn't have to take Juggernaut out of the story just to give her a reason to actually man up and do something for once.
Yeah, I'm just really curious as to where the season's going to go. And then once the season's over, we'll probably have to have a discussion on our overall thoughts on it, because we'll probably need the ending to solidify them.
Yeah, it could still salvage the season.
It could, yeah. That's where we're gonna have to wait to see and find out, because we only have 2, maybe 3 episodes left.
Yeah, because I mean, you know what this season feels like? It feels like the source material of the manga got like a guest editor or something who just fucked it up.
Yeah, we've had that feeling a few times throughout the season. Once we got to even the beginning when you get to like the Chinese Federation,
Yeah, it's like here's some fire animals,
talking animals,
and everyone's high and laughing now, and it's like,
a lot more etchy than the first season too. Even with Tamaki was in the first season starting like episode 4 or something, like when she was first introduced.
Yeah, she had like a bunch of moments where she like bumped into him and stuff like that. There wasn't a lot of like all her clothes just fly off.
Yeah, even in the serious moments when like Shinra's fighting Rekka and her clothes are like burned off there, they don't use it as like a joke there. It's like serious, like her crying and
it's like she's been seriously burned and her clothes have been
it's
burned
not
off.
like her idol just just almost tried to kill her and destroyed her thoughts of him, and then like her whole clothes just fall off and she's just like, uh-oh, this is awkward.
Yeah,
no, it's like a serious moment all the way through.
Yeah, well, if that happened this season, Shinra would have got a nosebleed or something.
Yeah,
like
he would have
that.
tripped and fallen on her boobs or something.
Yeah,
and then they just would have laughed off the Rekka thing. But we're gonna have to wait to see how the season ends so we can give a full discussion. Next up on the list, and probably I would argue the most important one on the list, especially for this week, is Attack on Titan Season 4, Episode number 1.
Yep.
So this is called like what, The Other Side of the Sea or something?
Yes, Other Side of the Sea.
Yeah, okay. So a couple preface thoughts, since obviously we've never talked about Attack on Titan on here. You just spam watched season 3 part 2, right?
I was a season behind, so.
Now, were you a full season behind? Like, had you not even seen the Kenny? And
I hadn't seen Kenny or anything.
Wow. Okay.
I had some stuff spoiled for me because I didn't watch it as it came out.
Okay.
So I let that fade from my memory before I watched it.
That
was the big thing.
We're not going to give a full Attack on Titan recap. I'm assuming if you're watching this part, you have seen Attack on Titan.
Yeah. If not, go do what I do and watch the full season in 16 hours.
Yes, it's on Crunchyroll, Funimation. I believe only season 1 is on Netflix, which is kind of shitty, but you should really have Crunchyroll or Funimation if you're a fan of anime anyways. Not sponsored, sadly. But season 3, just as a quick arc recap, the first section of it is more a political section going on, a lot to do with like Historia and her family, and you learn a little bit about Aaron's dad. You get a couple little hints, which then leads to the second part, which is where they decide to go take back Wall Maria, mainly because they want to find out what's inside the basement, right? They're literally like, we're going to take this back. Aaron has learned his hardening power to harden up the holes, but we're doing this because we need to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah, they finally cashed the chip from episode 2.
Yeah, they're like, we need to figure out what's going on. Now, my question to you, the funniest scene in the entire show to me was when they're on the top of the wall, Rainer's going insane, and he's just like, yeah, by the way, like, I'm the Armor Titan, and my friend here is actually the Colossal Titan. And Aaron's just like,
what?
And then literally fucking Mikasa just comes out and like almost kills both of them right there.
Yeah.
But I remember when I was watching that live, right? Because I was watching the episodes as they came out.
Yeah.
I was just sitting there because I already had guesses. I already knew. Obviously some spoilers from the manga.
Maybe Bertrand being the Colossal Titan wasn't obvious, but Reiner being the Armor Titan was basically spelled out.
Yeah, and there was like, if you actually rewatch season 1 now, there's a few hints. Reiner talking about how he just wants to go home and stuff like that specifically. But when that still happened though, and like Aaron's face was just like the shocked like grim on his face. My face was like the same thing in real life. I'm like, what the fuck?
Did you actually just drop this? Like,
and then they get into a sick fucking MMA fight, falling off the wall and on the ground.
Yeah.
But anyways, then the second part of season 3 is they go back to Wall Maria, and then a lot of it's them trying to figure out what's in the basement while the Beast Titan, the Armor Titan, the Colossal Titan, there's this big fight going on.
Yeah.
Beast Titans throwing rocks, trying to cut off their escape, kill their horses. They're fighting the Armor Titan. They keep kicking Rainer's ass, basically.
Yeah.
But then just when they're about to kill him, they throw Berthold in. He turns into Colossal Titan, fucking nukes the entire place.
Which I didn't know he was that powerful just in transforming.
The steam created from him is just insane.
Yeah, I knew it was insane. I didn't think it was atomic bomb levels.
But yeah, so what happens, there's a lot of like Rainer almost dies like 6 different times, but he does eventually get rescued.
Yeah, a lot of what happens is him going, wait, what just happened?
You do get to see one of the other human titans of I think there's 9.
Yeah, there's 9 total.
The plot is basically
9 intelligent titans.
Yeah, the plot is basically 2,000 years ago, there was a queen who made a deal with the devil. She became a titan, the first titan, she took over the kingdom, and then when she died, it got split into 9 separate titans. And you did get to meet the cart titan.
Yeah.
Who was the one on the 4 legs who hops in quickly with Zeke, the beast titan.
Which I want to know, like, I feel so bad being the guy who got assigned that.
I think it's actually a woman.
Oh, is it?
I think so, yeah. I don't 100% know, but I think it's a woman.
Okay, I wasn't sure. So
we actually did get to see her in the episode 1, too. A little bit of an upgrade.
Oh, it was her.
Yeah, a little bit of an upgrade. A little bit of a tank cart. The tank titan.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she comes in, she rescues the Beast Titan, and the only one they actually end up getting in the end is Berthold. And obviously, during getting him, Armin was absolutely disintegrated.
Yeah, which I will say, like, Armin did a good job here. Like,
yeah.
I wasn't expecting that from
Armin
him.
in season 3 in general, he has the mind of a commander, right? The whole point is that he's like learning how to command.
Yeah.
But then there's a lot of drama about who they're going to save using the Titan serum, that kind of stuff. Anyway, the important part is, Armin becomes the Colossal Titan. That's the important factor.
Like, I had that moment of, like, who are they going to use it on? Then I realized, like, they're probably going to use it on the protagonist character.
Yeah. And then as they get to the basement, there's 3 different journals from Aaron's dad, which reveals a lot of information, such as the fact that, they're not the last of humanity. Most of the entire world is somewhere else. They're just on an island. I think it's called Paradise or Paradise Island, but they call it like Paradise. It's like Paradise Island or something, but a lot of people just call it Paradise Island.
Yeah, when you get shipped there, it's called Paradise.
Yeah. And you get like this huge plot reveal that's just like mind blowing, and it's all about just the queen who got the Titan powers took over the kingdom. What was it called? Marley?
Marley is the kingdom it's currently called.
Yeah, so that's what she took over that kingdom originally, and then what happened is, and then when there was all the Titans, eventually the Marleyans took control of most of the Titans, and then they used that to kick out the what are the other people called? The Eldians.
Eldians, yeah, not Elden.
Yeah, so even though the Titans were originally all Eldian, as was the queen who got the original Titan, the Marleyans somehow eventually took over most of the Titans, used those Titans, then kick out the Eldians, and the king fled to Paradise Island.
Yeah, they never actually established how they took over, because they're still using Eldians for the Titans.
Yeah, they're using Eldians for a lot, as we've seen in this episode.
Yeah,
not very well.
Like I have to admit, I got very much like Jews in World War II.
100%, especially based off much of Attack on Titan is very German setting.
Yeah.
So a couple important factors before we get into episode 1 is that the actual world is, from what I've read, it's about 100 years more advanced than where they live on Paradise Island. That's why they have cameras and cars.
Yeah.
It's been compared to about 1920s, 1930s.
Right.
And yeah, you find out that basically the king of the Eldians fled to the island, built up the walls, as like a safety precaution. And then you kind of learn about Eren Yeager's father. He came over. He was given the Titan, the Attack Titan, which is you get the name of the show kind of fit in there.
Yeah, I didn't think they'd actually go that blatant with it, but
yeah, and I think the guy when he gives it to him, right, he's like, oh, like this is like the Titan for people that want to like achieve their dreams. He's like
the Titan that always seeks out freedom.
Yeah, and one of the more important parts too he's learned is after someone receives their Titan powers, they only have 13 years to live.
Which, I mean, not cool, bro.
Not cool. But they all have a task, obviously, the whole thing. And then his task was to go and find the founding Titan, the founding power, the coordinate, which was, at the time, it was Historia's older sister had it. Eren Yeager's father ate her. Eventually, his father also got Eren to eat him, which gave him the power.
Which, I mean, how does this stack up? Because we don't really know how, like, if they can actually work together. Or...
I'm assuming they can, in a sense, because he is obviously the Attack Titan, and he also has the coordinate power. One important factor at the end of Season 3, it's not coming into play yet, but it will.
Yeah, he has to be in contact with a Titan made from a royal.
Well, he has to be in contact, with a royal, basically, which when he first used the coordinate power, he was actually touching his, I want to call her stepmom, technically.
I mean... Yes and no, because his dad kind of divorced her before.
Not legally. She just turned into a Titan.
Yeah. Does that count as legally dead, or is this like more of
I don't know about the
situation?
Titan rules, but yeah. So she had royal blood. So when he first used the coordinate powers in Season 3, it's because he was touching her. Yeah. And then there is a scene where Historia summons them, and then he doesn't tell people this because he's worried that they would force him to eat Historia or something strange to be able to use the power maybe all the time if you eat her. I don't know. He's unsure, so he doesn't mention it. And then when he goes up, I think does he kiss her hand or something at the end?
Yeah, during the ceremony, he kisses they each have to kiss her hand.
And we don't see what he sees, but he has quite the face. Then he makes a face implying that he sees something. And then the next time we see him is a full year later, and he's looking pretty grim.
Yeah, he's got the longer hair. He just doesn't seem to give a fuck.
A couple important notes in that year is they actually exterminated all the Titans off Paradise Island.
Yeah, just using a big hammer and a sledge.
I think one of the important reasons they did is because the Marleyans were no longer sending Titans there, which makes sense as to when we see in this episode why they're not. Because they're actually in a war with
so now they're just dumping
the Eastern
Titans
Allied forces. Yeah, so they stopped sending Titans, was let them clear it out. They retook the walls, and then they make it to the sea. And then they're all kind of happy playing in the sea. Eren is not happy though, and I think the last thing he says at the end of Season 3 is like, "If I kill everyone across there, can we finally?"
Yeah, if we kill all our enemies across the sea, can we finally live in peace or something?
Yeah, well, he's looking pretty sad, and as we know, anyways, Eren doesn't have many years to live, anyways, because that's how long has it been?
He lost it was about 5 years after he got the power.
Yeah.
Then we had a year time skip,
and now we have more because we haven't seen their crew, but the start of Season 4 takes I think 4 years. I don't know if it's 4 years after the 1 year time skip in Season 3, or if it's 4 years before the 1 year time skip.
I feel like it'd be before.
I would also assume that, or else that's more like a 5 year time skip. But
yeah, which means Eren's got 3 years to live, which is kind of grim.
Yeah. Now, once again, we're not big manga readers. At least not when it comes to Attack on Titan.
I tried reading ahead on this, and I decided not to.
I used to read ahead. I think I have up to volume 12 or something, which was much ahead of where the anime was at the time, but I'd never kept up after then. But from what I've heard, we have a few episodes at least with these characters that were introduced in this episode before we get back to meeting our main characters. So we have to learn to like these guys, who are both on the allied team and the enemy team.
Yeah, there are new protagonists, but they're going to be the enemies to the previous protagonists.
Yeah, so I wrote down a couple notes here just because I knew I'd forget their names. So some of the early characters we're introduced to, they are 4 candidates to be warriors, which are what they're called when they take over a Titan. Basically, there's already a candidate who is chosen to take over the Beast Titan, which is Zeke. That's Aaron's stepbrother, because he, at this point, I'm sure he's coming up pretty close to 13 years, which means he's going to be done soon. And that guy's name was Colt. He's the older brother of one of these warriors. He's a little older. And then there's the 4 possible warrior candidates to take over the Armor Titan, because same thing. We're assuming that Reiner's getting pretty close. And their names are Gabby, who's the most likely at this point.
Yeah.
Most likely is in the show. I think we know who's the most likely.
Oh, God, yeah. She's going to die hard.
The most likely is the guy who looks like Reiner.
Yeah.
But yeah, Gabby is the most confident one. She seems the most likely at this point. Then there's Falco, who's going to be the kid who's going to end up getting it because he looks the most like Reiner already. He's shown not as much confidence there, but he did show a little bit of bravery in the episode.
Yeah, I mean, before that, like, the first thing we see of him is him unconscious on a battlefield. So he obviously did
him unconscious on a battlefield, a little out of his mind. They use that as a way of telling us kind of what's going on.
Yeah.
But he also he's like, oh, I had a dream. I was like flying around with swords. So, little strange.
Yeah, actually, that's
obviously like alluding to something that, you know.
I'm not gonna lie, I got kind of a flavor of the Valkyries vibe, but then I realized I forgot what show I was watching.
Well, the thing is too, the only reason that seems like it was like a throwaway joke, but the end of season, do you remember like the craziest part about the end of season 3?
They talk about how people who inherit powers see paths.
And then in the past of Aaron's dad talking to the one guy, he's like, yeah, this is the only way you can save Armin and Mikasa. And he's like, who? And he somehow knows about people in the future.
Yeah, he specifically says, oh, I don't know whose memories those are.
Yeah, he's literally seeing memories from someone in the future. So it's just like I was watching that episode and I was just like,
what kind of quantum leap bullshit are we
what's going
doing
on anymore? I don't know, but I'm so hyped. But yeah, so Falco was the next one. Then there was Udo. He was the glasses kid. We know pretty much nothing about him.
Yeah, we know he could speak the foreign language of the people they were fighting.
Yeah, the Eastern Allied Forces is what they were called.
Yeah.
And then there's Zofia, who is the more platinum hair girl with the bangs. Once again, we know nothing about her yet. And then obviously the other 2 people that are kind of important in the episode is we do see Reiner with his 4-year time skip look. He's got a little bit of facial hair.
Yeah, got a bit of a chin strap.
Yeah, a little bit thinner of a face. Obviously, he's probably going through some hard times. The last time we saw him, he was kind of going crazy.
I mean, he was crazy long before that.
Well, what happened is he basically, this is something that happens to, you know, many people, such as like cops who go undercover, is that to deal with what he was doing, he had to separate his mind into 2 people.
Yeah.
He had to separate his mind into Reiner, the survey corps, and then Reiner, the
warrior.
Yeah, the warrior basically. And then he kept getting them confused, which is why he accidentally gave away their identity. So he was going insane. It's been a few years now.
Yeah, and then there's the whole thing with like Marco as well, where he was like, he literally fed Marco to a Titan, and then was like, why is Marco getting eaten? It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so he went a little crazy. So he looks like he's probably a little less crazy now. Maybe he's got his kind of act together, but he doesn't have much longer left anyways.
Sure.
And then the next important character is Galliard, who is he's called the Jaw Titan, which was actually the Titan that Ymir was.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Because if at the end of season 3, Reiner leaves a message for Historia, which
Right.
explains that Ymir is dead.
Yes.
So we know that someone, they obviously wanted to carry on her power, but we didn't know who. They didn't tell us who. And then we meet him. He's got like the lion mane, right? The big jaw. He looks a little bit less goofy than Ymir did because she was a really strange looking Titan.
I think that's why I didn't make the connection.
Yeah. So we don't know anything about him yet. I only got that from some people talking about it on the manga, but I heard about him before, but we don't know any information about him yet. Those are some of the important people. There's a couple other like humans, like there's their captain who is Marlian. He's not an Eldian, and then the other guy that's with them. The big point of the episode is that they are very mean to Eldians.
Yeah,
they're still considered like lower class citizens, as we've seen in the last season. Most of them are in like camps or zones specifically for them. But if someone is chosen as a warrior, then their family gets to live in like freedom and like like a good life.
You're turned into an honorary Marlian.
Yes, but there's also as they showed in the last season, there's a disconnect. The government is telling them that the queen used her powers to like take over and was like an aggressive queen, and then there's also a group of people who are like basically like the nationalists for the Eldians, saying that like no, she actually wanted peace and prosperity, and like the Marlians.
Yeah, she wasn't. She didn't make a deal with the devil. She was a miracle of God. Yeah,
exactly. But what's happened though is for the past 4 years, the Marlians were at war with the Eastern Allied forces.
Yeah.
Which means that's probably why they stopped sending Titans over to Paradise
Which
Island.
they specifically ended up in war with them because they lost the female Titan and the Colossal Titan.
Yes. As we're shown, one of the main themes of this episode is that the Titans, the era of the Titans is kind of ending.
Yeah,
because they're using these Titans so much, that means naturally as a war progression, better weapons are being made.
Yeah,
which is a natural thing. So now that as we see in this episode, the fucking anti-Titan tanks and shit are like wrecking them. Like Reiner gets his arm blown off in like one shot.
Yeah, his armor didn't do shit.
His armor did nothing. Even the bullets at one point actually did affect the Jaw Titan when they were shooting them at him when he tried to protect them too. Like the Titans are not what they used to be because people now, as a retaliation, have to build better weapons, which is how war progresses, and that's how we get nuclear bombs.
Oh,
God. That's one of the themes that the era of the Titans is coming to an end, especially because we learned this last season, but if a Titan dies without moving their powers on, if one of the 9 Titans dies, it is still continued. It's just given to a random Eldian kid. But that means they can't as easily find it or control it.
Yeah, some kid is gonna get pissed off one day, turn into a beast, and just bitch slap a lot of people.
So yeah, at the beginning they're like, "Oh, why can't we just bring in Reiner and Galliard right away?" And they're like, "No, like we're not doing that because that's too big of a risk. We don't want them to like die and lose them kind of thing."
Yeah.
Because they do mention that they lost the Colossal Titan. They lost a lot with the ending part of the Paradise Island thing.
Yeah, well because they lost Annie, the female Titan. Mm-hmm. Which, do we know if she's still alive?
Technically, they never got out of the crystal, did they?
I know, but then they later showed them smashing Eren out of crystal.
Yeah, that's true.
So, but
you think if they did, they would find some more of that Titan serum and get themselves a female Titan.
Yeah.
Which is very possibly going to be a story that comes to play at some point.
Yeah, or I mean, for all we know, they've got some Titan stashed away somewhere they're just going to feed her to. And
that's true, but you never know. They might give us like a female Mikasa Titan at some point. You get the whole squadron as a Titan.
I mean, that would be interesting.
Because the thing is, she's not going to want to live past Eren and Armin anyways.
Yeah, I mean,
now they have reduced lifespans.
Yeah, but even if she does turn into a Titan at this point, she's still going to have, 9 years without him?
True. She'll probably just kill herself when he's dead.
Yeah, it's like, okay, get the successor up here.
That was kind of like implied in season 1, like when she in like the first time when he died to like one the Titan eating him. Yeah. It was like she literally almost like gave up at that point just because she's like, well, Eren's gone.
Literally gave up. She ran at a Titan without her gear on.
Yeah, so like that's a possible outcome. But yeah, the war has been going on. We don't get to see exactly what our main characters have been doing for this war part. Yeah. They obviously know that there's a fight coming.
They're building a ship. That's what's going on.
Yes, and then most of the end of the episode, after there's a lot of fighting, you get to see the Beast Titans show up. Zeke, he's throwing fucking bombs at those ships. They're shooting back though, like absolutely wrecking Reiner.
Yeah, well, I mean, they show him about the lob a volley at them, and he's like, "Oh shit!"
He's like, "Huh?" And then just all the things shoot across. But the big point of this is at the end of the episode, they do win the war with the Eastern Allied forces, and they literally say that they're okay. Now we can get back to Paradise Island.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I do want to take into consideration the fact that they literally tactical bomb by just dropping Titans on them.
Yeah, which was kind of funny.
It is, but at the same time,
like drugged out Titans. We do get to they never actually explicitly showed it before. Do you remember in season 3 when the Beast Titan shows up and then you just see all the yellow flashes and they all turn into Titans? We did get to see in this. He has some sort of roar that just changes them into Titans.
Which what the fuck?
I don't know if they're if they're already had to be drugged up or something. I assume he can't just turn people into Titans because he would just use that on the enemy. I'm assuming there already has to be something he can just somehow affect when it hits.
Yeah, because he could have just done that to the Scout Corps.
Yeah, because they looked all the people who were tied up on the plane about to drop in Titans. They all looked kind of messed up anyways.
Yeah,
something had to be done previously.
I just realized something.
What?
You remember how they talked about how the nobles were immune to the effects of the Titan powers?
Mm-hmm.
They're not Eldians.
They're not.
They're immune.
Yeah.
So they couldn't be turned into Titans.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But I just made that connection.
Yeah, listen, the story is so detailed. It's so deep now with all this shit going on with
I know. There's probably some there's probably one conversation in volume 38 that disproves what I just said, but
yeah, all I know is that from what I've heard, we're still gonna get more with these characters first.
Oh yeah.
I'm wondering if the damage that was dealt to Reiner at the end is kind of his end, and if in the next one they're gonna pick. Or if they're going to wait a few episodes to pick the Reiner successor, then it's going to kind of end their arc with maybe Falco taking over the Armor Titan. Then we're finally going to get back to the main characters and see what they're up to.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be surprised if they kill off Marla before they give Falco the Armor Titan.
Yeah, The important themes I took away from the episode was the 4-year war distracting from the main plot, obviously. Age of Titans coming to an end. And then one of the last things, too, was the man at the end. There are some theories that he picks up the newspaper. Yeah. He has a hat covering. There are some theories as to who that is. Most of the options don't make sense. Some people think it's Kenny, but like that he lived through season 3 somehow. But the character looked too young to be Kenny.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I think it's Jean. Because even some people are like, oh, that's Levi or that's Aaron, but they've shown art for what those characters look like in season 4. It doesn't look like them. But even if you actually look at the art of Jean, he kind of looks like he could be him at the end. Because the character, they focus on him too much and they hide the top half of his face, showing that he has to be important. So there was a lot of question, like when I look, if you like look up any discussions, that people are like, oh, who is the character at the end? My guess would have to be Jean, unless it's a character we don't know yet or we're not introduced to yet. But
yeah, he's either going to be a new character that's major, or I think Jean would be the best bet.
Yeah, and I don't know what he's doing exactly.
He's going to be like not a sleeper agent, but like a spy almost.
Yeah, that's it. Because they have to have a spy in 4 years, right?
Someone has to have made the trip.
They must have made a boat or something, got one person across to spy. But like that it'd be such a hard job spying when you know literally nothing about their culture.
I mean, true.
All they would know was from Aaron's dad's notes, right? So like that would have to be a pretty hard
might be
job.
Enough.
But yeah, from what I've heard, we're supposed to get a few episodes with these characters. So we're going to learn more about, Gabby and Falco and all those kind of people, which is interesting because they are going to be the bad guys technically.
I mean, yeah, we might get like in a comic a kill situation where we're supposed to sympathize with both sides.
Yeah, which I wouldn't mind. I kind of, I kind of like that. Even the old the Fire Emblem game on the Wii. You play different sides, and sometimes at the point you fight your own fight. You fight your own people basically. Obviously, the thing is, it's like Paradise Island. They don't really. They only want to fight the war so they can like survive.
They're getting invaded because they're sitting on a coal deposit.
Yeah. It's gonna be a sick Titan v Titan. I'll be kind of sad to see like Zeke and Raynor go though. Obviously, there's some pretty big characters.
Yeah.
Because there hasn't been enough discussion about the fact that Zeke is in fact Aaron's stepbrother. Zeke said to Aaron last time, he's like, "Oh, I want to save you from these people." He's like, "I'll come back to get you later," kind of thing.
What was the line? We're both victims of your father.
Yeah. And that's just, but like, I mean, for a child, Zeke was kind of a dick.
Yeah, it's like
at the age of 7, he reported his own father and mother to the Marlians for being like an Eldian, like a
terrorist. Basically.
Yeah, basically.
They were the IRA.
Yeah. So he was kind of savage.
I mean, he was like, I kind of get what was going on. Like,
but yeah, because they're taught their parents were trying to teach him what they believed to be right. That was like, no, the Eldians aren't bad. She was actually like a generous queen, and then the Marlians are actually fucking us over. But he's like, if they have school or whenever he's talking to other people, they're like, no, like she was a brutal queen. They used their Titan powers for bad. She took over, and all this kind of stuff. So he was a little bit confused.
Yeah, there's also the fact that he was literally doing what his father did to him.
Yeah.
So of course the kid's gonna rebel against it.
Yeah. So. There was I remember season 3 there was so much like hypiness in the last section. Like the whole world just like blew up. It's like you thought one thing all the way here. Yes, we thought there was gonna be some sort of secret in the basement. We're gonna learn information, but that was not what we thought we were gonna learn.
Yeah, we weren't expecting a world reveal. We were expecting like this is how you get the shit that makes you into a Titan or something like that.
Yeah, and obviously still the big reason for the war on Paradise Island is because they need the founding Titan's power, which is inside Aaron. So we're gonna have to see more with Historia. Aaron's gonna have to use that power at some point.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly how that's gonna go down. I'm excited to see how many episodes we get with these new characters. I'm excited to see the development. Yeah, if we had to guess, I'm gonna guess that Gabby dies and that Falco gets the.
Yeah, she's the front runner. She's going to die.
There's also a possibility that because Colt so far, like his brother, he was barely shown to us. He's kind of boring. Now they didn't show any of it to us, but there's also a chance that he dies and then one of the other ones gets the Beast Titan.
That is true.
Instead of it being this character that they didn't really show, because I feel like they're going to want more development for these 4 characters instead.
Yeah, because I guess the Beast Titan's technically ranked higher.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they showed Zeke beat the crap out of Reiner in the third season.
Yeah, but that might also just be because Zeke is older and wiser, and it might be more. It might be more of a Zeke's above Reiner compared to Beast Titan above Armor Titan.
True.
And then this might not be the case now. I don't know exactly if they have rankings for the best Titans, but I don't know, female Titan. All the other ones have cool Titan names except for maybe Cart Titan, but female Titan. What if a male ate the female Titan?
Guess he's a chick now.
Yeah, I'm like, what would happen? But yeah, we did get to see the Cart Titan with the tank, the artillery stuff on the back. which is kind of cool.
Yeah, that was definitely a bit of a glow up, eh?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see Armin in the future with the colossal Titan powers.
Yeah, I wonder, is he gonna still be like skinless and bald, or
No, he won't be. Well, I think he's gonna be blonde hair.
on the colossal Titan?
Yeah, I haven't really looked. It was actually in the thumbnail of our last episode was some of the season 4 art, but I still somehow didn't look at what they all look like.
You're just blanking at the spoilers.
Yeah, I just didn't want to see, so I actually don't know what Armin even looks like in 4 years. But I'm just excited to see them. But yeah, I'm definitely not disappointed that we're going to be spending time with these other characters first because I like the, which side are we cheering for? Obviously, we're going to want to cheer for our main characters, but these kids, they're just doing what they think is the right choice.
Because there's always the chance that they're going to start the war, and then these kids are just going to change sides.
Yeah, I think someone like Falco, they've already shown that he's not like about the attention or he's not about the glory.
Yeah.
He seems more to be a little more kind. So there's definitely a possibility he'll switch. But someone like Gabby, to me, she seems too confident with herself. She seems like she wouldn't be the type to swap over.
Yeah.
So intrigued there. I'm just so excited to see where the season goes. I don't know if we mentioned this in a podcast episode or I just told you this at one point, but there was the Attack on Titan exhibit in Japan where there was a room you went into and it went completely black and you just heard the audio of like the last part. And I think it was just like Mikasa yelling Eren and some other like explosion sounds and stuff happening.
Yeah.
But people said it sounded really hype. So I'm just so excited. Obviously, Attack on Titan, one of the big ones we're talking about. If you're a fan or you have any other friends who are fans, be sure to recommend. Yeah. And then leave us a comment down below because this is going to be one of the ones where as each episode comes out, we're going to want theories to discuss.
Yeah.
We're going to want like opinions on certain things. Was it a good episode? Was it a bad episode? And then at the end of the season, obviously, we're going to have a big discussion about the show as a whole.
Oh, yeah.
Because this is one of the animes that have defined the genre and even just anime for the last so many years.
Attack on Titan has, since its launch, been one of those shows that you don't have to be into anime to watch. You can show this to anyone.
It's not a normie anime, but it is an anime. Like you can meet some people and they're like, I'm like, oh, do you watch anime? They're like, no. And I'm like, do you watch like Attack on Titan? They're like, yeah, I've seen that. I'm like, yeah, that's anime. They're like, yeah, but like not really though. I'm like, still pretty anime. But there's some things like that, like Attack on Titan. Fullmetal Alchemist is actually one of the ones too that I've actually met a lot of people who've seen that but don't like anime.
Yeah, because it's something different. It's a little bit more Western. It's something a little bit deeper.
Yeah, both of them have German roots too, because as we've discussed before, Fullmetal Alchemist very much takes place in Germany, and most of Attack on Titan seems like it would either take place in a German setting or possibly North American. Mostly German though.
Yeah,
just from land design and stuff like that.
Yeah, because I mean, even some of the older anime that kind of made that transition would be things like Cowboy Bebop and Trigun that were a little bit more transitional, and those are very much Western based as well. So.
Yeah, it's just such a cool aspect with Attack on Titan was very much like straw houses and some cities, but like they're still using like carts and wagons and horses and stuff like that.
They've got gunpowder. They have flintlocks.
Yeah, but the actual place, like the Marleyan side, they've got one of the big things. One of the first reveals about the other world is when they opened the book. It was a photograph, and he's like, "Hey, this isn't a portrait that someone drew. This is they took this photo." And they're like, "Photo," and it's like they have guns, they have blimps, they have trains, they have cars. Like it's just so cool. I just want to see where they go with it.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully you guys are also watching Attack on Titan with us. Leave your comments down below. And then recommend this to a friend if you have a friend who likes Attack on Titan. And if they haven't seen it yet, then recommend they go watch it because it's an anime for most people, I'd say.
Yeah, it's worth watching.
Yeah. I think other than that, that's it for the episode. We'll be back next week to talk about all these shows again because none of them are over yet. And then we're still at this point planning out our winter anime lineup. Obviously, Attack on Titan will be on there. We have a few other ones that we're pretty sure about, and maybe there could be some other ones based off what you guys want to see.
Yeah, we're gonna see what drops, and because Attack on Titan was kind of weird because it's getting a 16 episode run.
Yeah.
So
that's why they had to start a little bit earlier than everything else. But we only got about 3 more weeks left until most of the shows we're talking about here end, and then we have to replace them with something else. So if you have opinions, let us know down below. I think we've asked most of this time for the last couple episodes because we just need to make that list soon.
Yeah.
To figure how long we're talking about stuff to see if we can have other discussions and stuff in between.
And the thing is, if you've been watching us for a while and you liked how we used to do discussions, you could always bring that up. We might switch back to that. There's not a huge list of anime to talk about.
Yeah, if we like right now, for instance, there's 7 we're talking about with Attack on Titan added in. But if we only had like 3 or 4, that would leave a little bit extra time in the episode to just discuss like favorite anime, like our favorite episodes, different mangas that we liked, sub versus dub, just a bunch of different very very broad topics, but like topics that we can get onto other than just discussing the episodes of anime. Because obviously right now this is more of a review. we go through each episode and review them.
Yeah.
We'd like to do other stuff in the future, but that really just depends on growing the audience and stuff, you know.
Oh yeah.
We have lots of friends who like anime and anime content. And we have some that don't, and you know, we could try and make some of them watch some of the craziest anime scenes or shit like that. But
Oh god.
yeah,
There's a few people I want to sit down and make them watch something like Peter Grill.
Oh yeah, listen,
They'll never talk to me again, but
Peter Grill would be fantastic, or just like interspecies reviewers and stuff. So a lot of bonus content that we'd love to do other than just reviewing anime episodes. Obviously, we're going to always want to review anime episodes because like Attack on Titan is just an example of a really good show that you get so much discussion about. There's going to be many more in the future. But we would love to do more than just that. We want to do some bonus content, but that really just depends on growing our audience.
Oh yeah.
So as I said, make sure you like and comment and subscribe because that helps grow the audience and that helps bring other people in through the crazy thing called the YouTube algorithm.
Oh yeah. Any interaction helps.
Yeah, and as always, if you have any suggestions or anything like that, make sure to leave them down below. I normally tend to ask one question. Normally, it's just like a recommendation or something in the comments. It'll be a pinned comment, and then, as I said, other than that, just thanks for listening, guys. Keep up. We'll be back next week, hopefully. As I said, if winter gets to us, we'll try and find a way around it.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, once again, guys, I've been Cam.
I've been Jimmy.
Thank you very much for watching. Take it easy, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Peace.